everyone to Campaign's annual flagship conference, Marcomms360, Sustainability Time for Action. I'm Nadeem Qureshi, publisher at Campaign Middle East, and it's always good to see a packed room full of old friends, colleagues, and associates. Thank you everyone for attending. Before we get on with today's events, I want to brief everyone on the latest developments at Campaign Middle East. We've just finalized Campaign's editorial and events calendar for the next year, 2024, and we will have 12 collectible monthly print editions, 5 breakfast briefings in Dubai, 2 Saudi briefings in Riyadh, along with a monthly podcast and networking opportunities. So please feel free to reach out to me and Tarun, there he is, if you would like to plan next year well ahead. Please also make sure that you contribute regularly to Campaign's print and digital editions. And as you're aware, this year we have launched Campaign's job section online, where you can post and search for job opportunities and career advice from industry experts. We should have all these opportunities and a lot more details on our website, social media platforms, and weekly newsletters. So please don't forget to subscribe and follow us in order to get the latest news and updates at all our future events, our podcast, our upcoming directories, our print and digital editions. Right. I would also like to thank our partners who supported us for today's event. The sponsors are Al Masood, Ad Scholars, Bigo Ads, Cicero and Bernay, Eventum Primo, and Yandex Ads. You will hear more from them as the day progresses. One last point, as always, I would like to ask everyone to send us your feedback on the content that you hear today. In front of you, you can see the event agenda flyers with a survey QR code. Please scan it and send us your valuable feedback on each session so that we can work with our partners for much stronger and relevant content. Right, that's about it from me. I will hand over the mic to Campaign's editor, Justin, who will take the events forward. Thank you everyone for attending and see you next year.
Please welcome to the stage, editor of Campaign Middle East, Mr. Justin Harper.
Thank you, Nadeem. Good morning. It's good to see so many of you at this event. It's not quite the last one of the year for us because we have Campaign Agency of the Year Middle East tonight, but we are definitely in the home straight. This morning, we are proud to host Marcomms360, which features an impressive list of speakers and experts. In previous events, we've focused on the year ahead, calling it an outlook, but we wanted to make this one slightly different this year and acknowledge the fact that COP28 is taking place just down the road. So we themed it Sustainability, Time for Action. Since COP, there has been a lot of announcements and pledges from governments and businesses, which is great to see. But people also want to see action and smart goals set for businesses, agencies, and everybody else to aim towards. Talk is cheap, as they say, and being sustainable costs money, but it's the right thing to do. Marketers play a huge role in this dialogue, promoting a company's sustainability efforts to consumers and explaining what it actually is doing to reduce its carbon footprint. The green narrative has evolved now, and people want to see less talk and more action, especially the younger generations. Get spotted with a plastic straw in public, and it's evil looks from gangs of teenagers in Dubai Mall. Maybe not quite that bad, but you get the point. Sustainability is important for more and more consumers. In October, Campaign dedicated the magazine to sustainability, turning it green and asking many top marketers and experts to write for us. It was one of our best received issues, and it encouraged us to put on this event. But today we are going one better than that recent issue and COP28, and we will be talking about more than just sustainability, and for a fraction of the price that you'd pay for COP. We have an impressive list of experts for you up this morning, talking on a variety of sustainability and non-sustainability topics, from gaming to event design, social media, advertising to AI. We hope there's something for everyone. We also have some cool prizes. Bigo Ads has a lucky draw for 1 pair of AirPods and 1 Apple Watch at their activation, which is outside. Ad Scholars also has an activation outside, and is inviting attendees to play an interactive game which is relevant to their rich media gamification product. And the winner there stands a chance to win a PS5. Okay, so that's enough from me. Let's get things started. So, firstly, we're going to hear about sustainability, an update in relation to COP28 from Al Masood and their sustainability reporting and framework. Before I welcome the speaker onto stage, we are just going to play a short video from Al Masood.
Our sun, our warmth, our light, our strength, our power. Our sun has been by our side every step of humanity's journey. Developed and manufactured in the UAE, with the aim of embracing sustainability to mitigate the climate crisis, Shams Plus by Al Masood is a game-changing off-grid charging solution for e-mobility and hybrid marine vessels, giving customers the highest charging speeds possible and EVs a range of over 100 kilometers in just 10 minutes, even in the remotest of locations. Combining cutting-edge technology with solar power, a source of energy even more abundant in the Middle East than fossil fuels, Shams Plus by Al Masood is a new, innovative and green solution that will help our nation reach its ambitious target of having at least 42,000 electric vehicles on the roads by 2030. Shams Plus by Al Masood, together with our sun, together for a sustainable future. Shams Plus by Al Masood, a proud climate supporter of COP28.
Okay, very cool video. So I'd like to welcome on stage Marwa Kabur, a friend of Campaign and the Group Head of Marketing and Corporate Communication at Al Masood.
Test. Thank you, Justin. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Anyone's been to COP this year? All right, a little show of hands, which is absolutely fine. I'm here to give you the download. My name is Marwa Kabur. I'm a marketing and communications best-selling author. I head the marketing and communications for Al Masood Group. Al Masood is a big conglomerate based out of Abu Dhabi. We are into 3 verticals. We work in real estate, property, in automotive, and in industrial and manufacturing. So let's hear about sustainability today. And the reason why I stand before you today to talk about sustainability, because it's a topic that is extremely dear to my heart, and I am a certified sustainability marketeer from the Center of Sustainability Excellence in Brussels. Before we start talking about sustainability, I wanted to bring up a very interesting word. I find it very romantic, destiny. You hear it a lot in romantic novels and in movies. And I want to ask you guys, how would you define the word destiny? Any show of hands? Can someone tell me what destiny means to them? Can I have a volunteer? How would you define destiny? All right. Let's hear it from you.
I would define it as something that is meant to happen and will happen, unavoidable.
All right. Very interesting. Do you guys agree? So destiny is actually defined as the series of events that are going to happen to a person sometime in their future. Now, another question for you. Are you a believer that you can control your destiny? Yes or no? Yes? Very little hands. No? We have no control? All right. So I'm going to share with you a very interesting quote that I came across. And it says, a person often meets his destiny on the road he took to avoid it. A person often meets his destiny on the road he took to avoid it. And this, in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, the story of sustainability. Sustainability has long been a topic that people have put on the side. It's the last 2% of a conversation, or an article, or a business briefing, or a news piece. Humans, for the longest time possible, ignored the topic of sustainability. But where did this lead us? How often would you have come to a marketing conference where the overall theme is about sustainability? This is probably the first year this is happening. But the topic of sustainability has been on the table for hundreds of years now. COP started 53 years ago, and as of today, in a room where we have probably over 100 people, only 3 of you have been to a COP. And so, it is our destiny to talk about sustainability and to take it extremely seriously, because we have come to a time in our lives where we need to believe that, number one, we control our destiny, we should control the sustainability situation, and we should take climate action. Climate action is forging our destiny, and this is really what COP28 is all about. COP28 is telling us that today, planet Earth is in a dire state. We can no longer put this topic on the shelf or talk about it for a small amount of time, and that we need climate action. And I stress here on the word action, because climate action is going to be the tether between your existence and a future that's going to go beyond mere survival. So, before I tell you a bit about COP, let's talk about a lot of the sustainability challenges that the world is grappling with. And these don't come in any particular order. They're just the ones I thought I would like to bring up to you. And because you're marketeers, I don't want you to take this as, a news briefing. I want you to listen to me and to think, what could you do as a marketeer or a media professional or an advertising professional in your job today to help remedy some of those challenges that I'm about to talk to you about. Let's start with the first one. Our future generations are basically at risk because the world has seen an enormous amount of migration due to climate crisis. Now, we all know that there is a lot of political tension around the world, and there's a lot of migration and internal displacement happening due to that. But let's think as well of people who are forcefully displaced from their homes because of the climate crisis. So I come here every year and I stand on stage, and it so happens that for the past 3 or 4 years, at the beginning of the year, we have a reference of an extreme weather condition that took place, and it's very sad. This year in February, we had the earthquake that hit Turkey, and then we had the floods of Pakistan. Now, to put it into perspective for you, when we used to hear about floods, we used to hear about hundreds of people, probably thousands of people who lost their homes. But can you imagine that the floods that hit Pakistan have displaced over 20 million people? 20 million, that's double the population of the United Arab Emirates. Can you imagine that more than 30 million have been affected by those floods? These are families, these are children, these are mothers, these are grandparents. These are homes being wiped out, entire villages. Now, I talk about the region here. Our region here in the Middle East and North Africa is known for the wealth of resources that it has. Anyone here from Iraq? No one from Iraq? A beautiful country. It's mentioned in many holy books. It's always described as the land of the rivers. Well, look at the rivers of Iraq today. The rivers of Iraq have seen the lowest number of water flows it has ever seen in the history. So as of 2022, more than 31.8 million people have been displaced and moved out of their homes and villages because of climate crisis. So what does that mean for you as marketeers? Let me put it into perspective. This means your cost of labor is going up. This means your facilities and your production facilities could be at risk. This could also mean that the cost of raw material that you need to produce your products and services is going to go up because it's getting scarce. And the statistics have it that by 2050, there will be more than 200 million people who will be internally displaced due to climate crisis. So keep that in mind. Let's talk about resource depletion, a very technical term, but I don't want to sound jargony. And I'm going to take a minute to take you back to the 1970s. What do you guys know about the 1970s? Probably none of you in this room were ever born in the 1970s. Well, the 1970s was not just about discos and about the jeans and about all the liberation movements that we hear about. The 1970s was the year and the beginning of the decade where we had environmental awakening. And that was the beginning of the time when humans took to the streets and started basically, championing environmental movements. So why did this happen? It happened because the United States witnessed its first energy crisis ever. One of the biggest economies in the world realized that they can no longer depend on their own energy resources and that they need to basically depend on the energy coming in from other countries. Similar to what's happening in our world today, the 1970s was a decade of recession and stagflation. And so you would think that with all of this taking place, humans have thought twice about how they want to consume and how they want to really take care of the resources of planet Earth. But what happened instead? Let's take a look at what happened instead from the 1970s until today. Today, we've just ushered consumerism. Consumerism, consumerism, consumerism. Well, now the research tells you that if we continue consuming our resources the way we do today, this whole entire planet is not going to be enough. We need 1.7 times of this planet to keep up with this consumption. And I say this to you because you are marketeers. And whoever has studied marketing and has really read the earlier theories of marketing of Proctor and everyone else, marketing has been completely interlinked with consumerism, with supply, with demand, with consumer loyalty equals to not a consumer talking about you, but a consumer coming back for repeat purchases. But what can you do if those repeat purchases and this extreme consumerism is depleting the resources of the only place you have and you can live on? Do you need to rewrite the narrative and the theories that describe what marketing is? Are you ready to champion a new definition for consumerism? I want you to think of that. And then, of course, global loss of biodiversity. Again, this is due to urbanization. Today, 50% of the world's population want to live in cities. And that means we're basically destroying a lot of the natural resources that we have. And I intentionally did not want to put pictures of turtles and of dolphins and of the oceans. All other species are also getting extinct, and today more than 70,000 of them are. And this has been the highest rate ever traced back to the history of this planet. Now, the main culprit of this all is us humans. We are the ones who need biodiversity the most, and we are the ones who are destroying it by the same token. And then I wanted to touch upon water for two reasons. First and foremost, because we operate in the Middle East and the North African region, which were one of the richest regions when it comes to natural resources. COP27 last year that took place in Sharm el-Sheikh focused a lot on water because water is becoming extremely scarce in the North African region. Anyone here from Jordan? Beautiful Jordan is witnessing the lowest rainfalls in the world. Now, it's very important for us to also realize that Although this region contributes 6.4% of the total world population, we only get 1% of its water resources. Again, what does water have to do with your business? Well, it has to do a lot. It has to do with the mobilization of your services. It has to do with your health and safety. It has to do with the production of the products or the delivery of the services that you're offering to your customers. One more thing to put it into perspective for you, we marketeers always talk about how vibrant and young and revitalized the region is because we are the youngest region on this planet. What does that mean? It means we are reproducing. It means more and more people are coming to this region, are going to be birthed. But we need to talk about our water, including drinking water as well. And then again, of course, pollution. We've been hearing about pollution forever. Today, it is official 1% of the total world population dies due to pollutions. And then food security. Again, some paradoxically important information for you to look at. Close to 800 million people go to bed hungry every night. But by the same token, we have a lot of food production taking place in the world. Every year, there's around 1.6 billion tons of food, which is worth $1.2 trillion that is going to waste. Can this help you think of how you can revise your portions, revise your packaging, revise how you maybe display generosity without waste, how you can create zero waste meals and zero waste processes? You can start with yourselves and then trickle this down to your brands. And then again, we talk about economies of scale, we talk about ROI. We marketeers, media professionals, we lead our conversations and we find the power in what we talk about when we throw in the numbers, our conversion rates, our leads. You know, when you talk to your CFO, you need to tell him what your marketing and promotion is on your balance sheet and how much it's contributing to your bottom line and so on. But we have to come to a point where we need to understand that we can no longer argue the case for the business impact and the economies of scale of sustainability. We have to lead the conversation to environment and social impact. So every time we have a conversation on what's the ROI on going sustainable, on going green, it's going to be slower, not many people are going to pick it up. You can't always take the conversation into numbers. You have to remind your board, your management, your customers about the social impact, about the environmental impact that you need to remedy and you need to contribute to. But since we're talking about numbers, and numbers is very important, let me ask you a question. Does anyone know what the world GDP is? Or do you guys know what GDP is? GDP? Gross Domestic Product. Economics 101. What is GDP? It simply is this beautiful formula that we humans have put in place where we put a value to the total number of products and services that our countries and economies produce. So if you're interested in any country, you go to Wikipedia to read about it, and I bet you that in the first sentence of Wikipedia, it's going to define that country or economy by the GDP that it creates. Does anyone have any idea how much is the total GDP that we humans create on planet Earth? Any guesses in the room? Okay. Our worldwide GDP is close to $80 trillion. This is all of the information and the AI and the IT and the products and the servicing and the shipping and all of the technologies and the beautiful services that we, the humans, have created. This is the price that we have created, which we are very proud of. Does that mean we can give up on nature? How much of the world GDP is actually created from nature? How much of this 80 trillion, some numbers say 88 trillion, comes from the oceans, comes from the air, comes from the wind, comes from the sun, comes from the grains that you eat on a daily basis. More than 55% of the world's GDP comes from nature. So you need to look after nature. You need to always look after nature. We are not ready to give it up yet. Now, by the same token, I wanted to put another number for you to consider. If we are to forget about the GDP and all of the innovations and the products and services that we've created and we've promoted, and we thought of the value of just the biological and natural ecosystems that remain today, do you have an idea how much wealth is in that? Is it going to be more than the GDP? Because, you know, GDP has all these sophisticated products and services, and we humans always like to think of ourselves as the species that compounds the profitability of everything. Well, if we look at Mother Nature today, and we look at all of the biodiversity that's still there, still remains, we find a wealth of $125 trillion still in our planet. So the planet still wins despite everything. And this now brings me to COP28, because this is what the Conference of the Parties always talks about. The Conference of the Parties that's been taking place for 53 years talks about nature, how can we protect nature, talks about climate action, talks about the community, and talks about the environment. COP28 this year was basically about taking action. The trending hashtag for COP was actionism. And I'm going to simplify this for you. The direction that COP28 took is to move from mitigation to adaptation. Simply is shifting the mindset of the countries of the world in the way they look at sustainability. Anyone here knows what mitigation is? Mitigation is very simple. Mitigation is really reducing the risk. So for the past 20 years or so, in the Conference of the Parties, the countries will come together and say, we need to reduce the risk of climate crisis. We're going to pledge, and we're going to pledge that we're going to cut our carbon emissions. We're going to pledge that we're going to sign the UN Paris Agreement and, try to keep temperature levels beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius. We're going to try not to let the ocean and sea levels go better. We're going to try and safeguard the forests. So, what you hear is simply reducing the risk. That is simply it. We're mitigating the situation. But today, we can no longer mitigate only, because anyone wants to fill in the blank? Because the damage is done. And today, we move to adaptation. Adaptation is simply coming to terms with the reality that we need to live with what we have done. And adaptation is learning how to live with climate change, learning how to live with all of that. And so to put it into monetary perspective, for every $10 that is spent on mitigation, be it renewable energy initiatives, energy efficiency programs, as of today, only $1 is spent on adaptation. And adaptation today takes priority and is more important. And so COP had 3 areas of priorities. First one is tracking the energy transition. Second one is focusing on nature. And the third one was basically fixing climate finance. We spoke a lot about nature. Let me tell you a bit about climate finance. A big part of the agenda of COP was green finance. And green finance simply is telling the banks we can no longer restrict our investments into projects that give an immediate ROI or into projects that could actually be very harmful to the climate. So we're asking the powers of the world, which are the banking institutions and the investment firms who have all the money, to basically change the way they look at investments and to start accepting sustainable platforms. And it's very important to know that as of today, only 50% of financing goes into adaptation, and this number needs to go up. So one of the great things that were launched in the first day of COP was the Loss and Damage Fund. It's very simple. We have the big countries of the world, the big economies of the world, who are the greatest polluters. You have your Chinas and your Japans and all of these big, rich countries that have the big GDP who are polluting the world. And you have the small and the poor countries who cannot pay the price for the damage. So we finally have a loss and damage fund, which takes money from the big guys, gives it to the poor nations in order for them to adapt to living with climate change. And then we have renewable energy. You know what's very interesting about renewable energy? Today you can create energy from many sources. You can create energy from waste. You can create energy from wind. You can create energy from water. You've seen how Al Masoud is creating energy from the sun. Renewable energy is the cheapest it's ever been in its entire history. And every year it gets cheaper and cheaper. But the funny part is, when you look at the energy pie, 82% of the energy pie still comes from oil and gas. And since the UAE is an oil and gas producing nation, this was one of the things they had to tackle during COP. And one of the very interesting pledges that came through is that we have more than 116 countries pledged to triple their renewable energy capacity, and more than 50 oil and gas companies that are responsible for 40% of oil and gas production also took the pledge to cut their methane emissions and their carbon dioxide emissions. Solar, which you guys have seen on the video. And now, before I close, I want to ask you this. Do you think consumers are ready? Do you think consumers are ready to throw at them sustainable solutions? Yes? Yes? Are your consumers ready? Are you guys ready as marketeers? So a lot of stats, a lot of data. I'm not going to go through them one by one, but all I can tell you is consumers are ready. And consumers need your help as marketeers to put on the table for them sustainable products and solutions. You can help them go paperless. You can help them reduce their carbon footprint. You can help them through many ways. And then again, what does this all mean to marketeers and communicators? And I don't want to sit and preach here. I would love to hear from you. Can someone tell me, how would you as a marketeer or a communicator take this to heart and apply it to your job? What can you do? Any ideas? The crowd is still sleepy today. Listen, I have 1 more minute on stage. Let me tell you, there's so much you can do. Start with the small things. You can cut out the plastic. You can use smart green extra mile services. You can go to energy saving lights. Go to the UN page and learn about the UN SDGs and think of how you want to do your ESG reporting. Look at your supply chain. Find vendors that are more green. Maybe rewrite the narrative on marketing and accept the fact that marketing is not only about increasing demand and increasing supply and vice versa. Maybe customer loyalty does not have to be repeat purchases, but smart and conscious purchases. There is so much that you guys can do as marketeers because you are a profitability center for your brands. So I have a few ideas here for you. I'm sure you know it all. Think of your ESGs. Think of what you can do as brand ambassadors to contribute to sustainability, because, ladies and gentlemen, we are in adaptation phase. We're going to live side by side with this. That's all for me. Thank you so much for listening.
Many thanks to Marwa for that, a very educational talk. For me, it was like being back at school. I learned a bit about economics, geography, about the environment, and I widened my vocabulary at the same time, so excellent. And of course, Marwa has a book if you wanted to read more about marketing. As we promised, this is better than COP28. We will be covering sustainability and non-sustainability topics. So our next talk is on social media advertising from Bigo Ads. And before they come up on stage, we've just got a short video from Bigo Ads. Okay, it's pretty funky music. So this is social media advertising, grasping the integration trend to lead future development. So I'd like to welcome on stage Miley Hong, Revenue and Partnership Director at Bigo Ads. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. How's your day been so far? So this is Miley Hong. I'm in charge of the revenue and partnership of Bigo Ads in the MENA region. Thanks so much for your time to being with me for the next 20 minutes. Hope I won't bore you too much. So today we are going to talk about under the integration of the trend of social media and advertising, how to grasp the trend and lead future development. So, before moving on the next part, may I know what kind of social media that you use most often? Maybe you use some TikTok or Instagram stories and post some YouTube videos, etc. Yeah. So I assume this might be the main social media platform that you use very often. And actually, in today's digitally connected world, social media has become an integral part of our daily lives. So, with the rise of social networking apps, we can easily stay connected with our families and friends, share our experiences, and access a wealth of information and entertainment resources. Social media has transformed the way we communicate, engage with others, and access information. In fact, it has become a prominent fixture in our lives. So, social media actually has a very profound impact on the advertising industry. So, firstly, social media has transformed the way users obtain information, providing more precise targeting options for advertising delivery. Platforms can use data on users' personal information and interesting, etc., to accurately deliver the ads, and increasing the impressions and CTR, etc. And additionally, social media has changed users' attitude towards advertising, as they are more proactive, actually, in engaging and sharing information, and are more accepting of personalized recommendations and experiences compared to traditional ad formats. And social media advertising is more likely to attract the user's attention and interest. So, through users' interaction in social media, advertising can achieve a user-to-user effect in the dissemination process and further increasing the influence. Secondly, social media has presented more marketing opportunities for the advertising industry. Compared to traditional advertising, social media allows for more detailed and comprehensive user data analysis, helping advertisers to understand their needs and feedback more accurately, and providing a reference basis for product and service development. And at the same time, social media advertising also has a lower cost and more significant impact, providing new opportunities for the advertisers. So, in summary, social media has a very significant impact on the advertising industry, providing more precise targeting options for advertising delivery, changing the users' attitudes towards advertising, and presenting more marketing opportunities for advertisers. social media has become an important channel and platform for the advertising industry. So, we just gave an overview of the current status of social media and its impact on the advertising industry. Next, I will share you more about social media and social media advertising. So firstly, let's look into the development trend of social media. So actually, with the rapid development of technology and the widespread use of the internet, global social media platforms are experiencing unprecedented growth. According to statistics, the numbers of social media users worldwide has exceeded 4.7 billion, indicating that social media has become an integral part of people's life, serving as a very important communication and information gathering tool. In terms of development, social media platforms continue to innovate and introduce new features and formats to meet users' diverse needs. For example, social media platforms are constantly introducing short videos, live streaming, virtual reality, augmented reality, and other functionalities, providing users with richer and more interesting interactive experiences. In addition, social media is also expanding into business sphere, providing companies with broader marketing and promotion channels. In terms of popularity, social media is becoming more prevalent, reaching people of all ages. Social media is also graduating, becoming popular among middle-aged and older people, serving as a very important tool for them to stay connected and share their lives. So, overall, the popularity and development trends of global social media show strong vitality and potential. It will continue to influence people's lifestyles and functioning of society. We need to pay more attention to the development of social media in order to better utilize it to promote social progress and development. And also, the increasing user engagement on global social media is not only reflected in the above-mentioned growths in the numbers of users, but also in other key indicators of stickiness. According to statistics, the usage time of social media users is also increasing year by year. The average daily time spent on social media is about 2 hours and 31 minutes. And in different scenarios of using social media for communication, entertainment, and information acquisition, the average number of social platforms used each month is more than 7. Actually, in the past decades, the proportion of time spent on social media to total online time has also increased year by year, reaching to 38%. The overall development and popularity of social media demonstrate that people are becoming increasingly reliant on social media. And since most of us here today are also mainly focusing on GCC region, so I would like to also share with you more about the social media user data in this region. Compared with global data, it's interesting that we find out that GCC users, they are more heavily for social media. The average daily time spent hour is more than 3 hours, while global data is only 2.5 hours. And the average number of social media platforms used each month is 8, while global data were only 7.2. And for the social media share of mobile usage time, GCC status is even twice is that than the global data, ascending to 67%. So we just learned about the development of social media. And now I'm going to share with you more about the integration of advertising industry and social media. So, with the rapid rise of social media, the advertising industry is experiencing unprecedented changes. The widespread use of growing numbers of social media users has provided the advertising industry with vast development opportunities and new challenges. So, firstly, the interactive and real-time nature of social media brings both challenges and opportunities to the advertising industry. Through the social media platforms, advertisers can engage in real-time interactions with target audience, understand their needs and feedback, and adjust advertising strategies accordingly. In addition, the algorithms and data analysis capabilities of social media platforms can help advertisers better understand users' interests, hobbies, and behaviors patterns, etc., to achieve more precise targeting placement. Secondly, the diversification and personalization of social media has also presented new development avenues for the advertising industry. Social media platform offers a wealth of media resources and technical support, enabling advertisers to develop more diversified and personalized advertising strategies. For example, advertisers can use a variety of forms such as images, videos, live broadcasts, etc., to showcase advertising content and enhance its creativity and appeal. At the same time, by leveraging the personalized recommendation feature of social media platform, advertising can accurately target users, increasing the CTR and the CVR. Furthermore, the trend of social media moving towards mobile devices has also presented new opportunities for the advertising industry. With the widespread use of smartphones and mobile internet, users spend more time on mobile devices, providing advertisers with more marketing opportunities. Through mobile social media platforms, advertisers can easily carry out advertising placement and marketing activities to enhance brand awareness and user stickiness. And here I would also like to share with you about the advantages of characteristics of different types of social media advertising. And so firstly, for social network advertising, for a wide coverage and precise targeting, social network advertising utilizes big data and algorithm to improve ad relevance and effectiveness. It can provide a very rich variety of content to satisfy different ad campaign needs. For short-form video advertising, it's a great hit as well recently. And it's a strong visual impact, high creativity, fast under attraction, and increased brand awareness and exposure. With a precise algorithm and recommendation mechanism, push ads can also increase the CTR and the CVR. About the live streaming advertising, actually it's a great hit in the China and Singapore, some countries, but I know it's going to be a great hit in Middle East in no time. It connects with users in real time and creates a sense of authenticity and immediacy. It showcases products or services in a live setting, engaging users in real time through interactive Q&A sections or product demos. It encourages users' participation and enhances brand loyalty by interacting with users in a raw and unfiltered way. For the search advertising, it utilizes search engines to reach users at the moment they are actively searching for information. It appears in search results pages and is optimized to rank high in the search engine results. Increasing visibilities and CTR, it provides data-driven insights and convention matches to advertisers, giving them measurable globals and matches to optimize campaigns effectively. So these different types of social media advertising has distinct advantages and characteristics that can be leveraged to meet specific brand needs to target audience effectively. As social media platforms continue to evolve and innovate, additional forms of social media advertising are likely to emerge in the future. providing even more opportunities for the advertising industry to grow and take advantage of new trends and technologies. And now we are going to look back at the MENA region again. We could see that the advertising market in the MENA holds tremendous value and prospects. According to the forecast, advertising spending in the MENA region is expected to exceed 12 billion by 2024. And according to AGBI's forecast, the Middle East market will become the fastest growing market in the world in the next 2 years. Focused on digital advertising, the value of the Middle East market last year reached $5.9 billion US dollars. This figure is expected to grow by 10% in this year and additional 6.2% for next year, 2024, resulting in a total value of $6.9 billion US dollars. This data indicates the vitality and potential of the digital advertising market in the MENA. Meanwhile, the market share of social media advertising cannot be underestimated. Among the many types of digital advertising, social media advertising spends will account for nearly half of the total. And compared to global markets, its share is 10% higher. Social media advertising is a crucial marketing method for the MENA. So looking ahead, social media advertising spend is expected to show an annual growth rate of 5.37%. However, we cannot ignore the fact that these predictions are not set in the stone. This may change due to various factors. Therefore, we need to closely monitor market dynamics so that we can seize new opportunities. I believe that we can discern the future trend for the rapid development of the Middle East advertising market. Social media marketing will continue to thrive, and the Middle East market will emerge as one of the fastest growing markets in the world. We stand in a era full of opportunities and are looking forward to seize the opportunity to shape a brighter future together. So when we are focusing on the MENA region, here's the main downloads and consumer spending power chart box. And you will see that it was mainly social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and even IMO, etc. So, well, it was always very important to choose the social media platform that match with your advertising goals. But integrating with the advertising users' usage habit is also very important so that the ads can be integrated into users' experiences in a more natural way, reducing users' resistance to ads and improving the ad acceptance, which will also make it easier for users to become interested in advertisements and increase the click-through rate of advertisements. So here I would like to take our IMO ad slots for example. So this is the IMO roadblock. And so for example, when IMO wake up, they will see the brand takeover ad slots, and that's how they start their day. And when they are chatting with their friends, they will see the chat list audio call ads. And when they are having entertainment time, they might scroll the story scene, or they will call their friends. That's when they will see the story feature or the encore story ads, etc. So it will be a very natural way to bring the brands into users' daily social scene. And speaking of IMO, please excuse me another 2 minutes to let you show you more about Bigo ads. So speaking of Bigo, actually we are founded in Singapore in 2014, and we have several products including IMO. Maybe some of you already know about it and using it. And more than that, we also have Likey. Likey is a short video creation platform similar like TikTok, and we also have Bigo Live, Hello, etc. A lot of different social media platforms. And just 3 years back, we officially launched Bigo as advertising platform. And speaking about Bigo, actually we are very global company that we are presenting in 150 countries, have more than 7,000 employees, and assemble more than 400 million monthly active users globally, and we're also listed at NASDAQ. So if you are going to cooperating on BigOS, the traffic you will find out will be including in-house apps like our IMO and Likey, as well as our publishers, traffic called as Bigo Audience Network. So BigOS, we're actually trying to provide a one-stop marketing solutions for all advertisers. So more than just the brand awareness, we also provide a performance solution. And when we're talking about brand awareness solution, we're not only looking for, like CPM, CP, etc., those kind of buying format. We also have very interesting solutions like Messenger for Business, IMO Pay, etc. And if you're looking for performance-driven campaigns, we also provide the OCPC billing model with our self-serve DSP platform. And lastly, this is a small and simple showcase of the GAT motto that work with us. So as a world-famous, automotive brands, GAT motto has cooperated with IMO and for their new product launched. So the campaign adopts a time-thematic brand takeover format, and showing that IMO's showing the main two models of GA6 and GS4 respectively in one day. And for this campaign, it achieved for more than 12 million impressions, and the CTR is more than 7%. It adopts our IMO brand takeover format. So it's like when users, they open IMO, the first glance, they will see the full screen of the GAT motto brands. So it was a very successful showcase, and we can also do the very customized targeting ability for different brands. So actually, in the future, we are expected to see more brands and advertisers using social media platforms to increase brand awareness, build brand reputations, promote new products and services, and attract and reach target audience by providing personalized advertising content. The social media advertising market in the MENA has great potential, and I hope we can continue to pay more attention to the dynamic and the trends of social media advertising market in the MENA, and to better understand and respond to future challenges and opportunities. So thank you so much for your time, and you can contact with us via the about emails or the websites on LinkedIn and website. And you will be most welcome to have more discussion with us off stage. Thank you so much, and hope you have an amazing day ahead.
Okay, many thanks to Miley Hong for that presentation. I really like your presentation. Probably doesn't sound so good, actually. But moving back to sustainability, our next talk is on 2024, what's coming, exploring trends in sustainability marketing by Nami Ngem, who is the Head of Marketing and Communication at Masdar City. Before I welcome her on stage, I just want to say in our November issue of Campaign Middle East, we chose 10 game changers who are client-side and brand marketers we feel have made a big impact this year. One of them is Namin, who is, as we say, the Head of Marketing and Communication at Masdar City, which is one of the world's most sustainable cities and is based in Abu Dhabi. We really liked their Sustainable Living Made Easy campaign and how it was honest with people that being sustainable is not always easy. It takes effort. We will make a presentation, a short memento at the end of her presentation. So I'd like to firstly welcome her onto stage. Thank you.
So how involved are you in your company's sustainability reporting? I gather not very much, and it really shouldn't be this way. The landscape of corporate sustainability reporting has dramatically transformed in the last 2 decades. Companies usually reporting on financial metrics have found that it's really advisable that they also incorporate social, governance, and environmental metrics that they perform in their companies to their audiences. This has launched dramatically in the last 2 decades, and with the global reporting initiative standard launched in 1997, companies gained a framework of how they can report on their sustainability initiatives. And this truly launched what we all see today. Now, moving forward, a report by KPMG about sustainability reporting in 2022 found that the biggest 250 companies are now reporting on sustainability, with 64% of them saying that actually they acknowledge that climate change is a risk to their business. This has been a growing trend year on year, which exemplifies how important sustainability reporting is to you and your companies. Fast forward to today, we are now seeing a new trend. Enter the world of infotainment with this trailblazer campaign by Apple, their sustainability report in 2023. If you haven't seen it, I urge you all to check it out. It's been viewed on YouTube more than 4.3 million times in the last 2 months, with many more millions of views on all social media platforms. Gone are the days of mundane data and lifeless spreadsheets. Companies are now looking at film and the power of storytelling to transform numbers into narratives and excel into exhilaration. This trend is going to be picking up tremendously, and we are seeing more and more companies taking up video formats to cut through the clutter and communicate with the audiences, especially the younger generations. We're seeing brands like Nike, like H&M, and even Do at the start of COP released this very interesting campaign of Earth is calling and we will answer. And we're going to pick up the phone and we're not going to hang up anytime soon. And they relay all the efforts that they do in sustainability. So this is an increasing trend that we cannot ignore as marketeers. To get involved with our sustainability reporting is becoming essential and a foundation of our corporate communications strategy. Now, this doesn't mean that it doesn't come without its challenges. I see another trend that is going to be caused by this or because of the demand for this is greenwashing. Greenwashing is basically when companies want to claim that they are sustainable, that they're responsibly sustainable, and end up a little exaggerating, a little, claiming that their practices are more environmentally friendly. And this trend is also increasing, and we're going to see a lot more of it in the coming years. We've all heard of incidences like the infamous Dieselgate of Volkswagen, where they reported on their emissions to be a lot less than what has been discovered, and I'm sure you can bring to mind many more. A very interesting report by RepRisk actually found that 1 in 4 RepRisk ESG risk incidences was linked to greenwashing in the last year, which is up from 1/5 in the year before that. And surprisingly, banks and financial institutes are the biggest culprits. They found that there has been an increase in greenwashing incidences. This report came out in October 23, 70% jump in greenwashing incidences behind banks. So in one way or another, in this trend, I see that we're going to have a somewhat tale of two worlds, where we are going to see more infotainment type content, information that is packaged in an entertaining way, which will push companies like Apple to really increase their sustainability practices. But on the other hand, because of the demand for it, perhaps with the endorsement of celebrities as well as influencers, we will also see a great deal of greenwashing incidences. Now, with the climate crisis becoming ever more apparent and extreme temperatures, and the year of 2023 being recorded as the hottest year on record, I foresee that the next year is going to have a colossal event of a scale that we've never seen before, whether it's going to be a natural disaster or it's going to be a terrible environmental accident brought on by a large corporation, which will force companies to reckon with their communication and their alignment on these crises. We're seeing a growing number of climate activism, and similar to the George Floyd tragic murder triggered the Black Lives Movement, and people's awareness has become more attuned to social justice issues, I really believe that companies will have to reckon with this growing trend of climate activism and finding that balance of wanting to align themselves, wanting to take a stance, and figuring this out. Now, I understand that when we say crisis communications, it usually means that something went terribly wrong, like an aviation disaster, let's say, or a scandal for the leadership. But I really believe that we will start to see corporate crisis communications about companies not taking a stand and possibly risking their reputation and facing public scrutiny. So the environmental activism movement really launched in the late 20th century with 1970 declared the first time the Earth Day was declared. And that kind of created the new age climate activism movement that we see today. Up to the Stop Oil, which is an excellent manifestation of climate activism, we're seeing a lot more of these incidences year after year, and the movement is growing. And although we can't really pinpoint when this started, it came about as a culmination of environmental accidents by the fossil fuel industry, and they are definitely growing in strength. Greta Thunberg, which we all know as well, rose to extreme prominence in 2018 when, at the fragile age of 15, she launched the Fridays for Future school protest and gained great acclaim in becoming a huge advocate for climate. However, she's also criticized. A lot of people view her activism style as polarizing, and many say that her approach is not resonating well with everyone. And honestly, every time I ask someone, why don't you like Greta Thunberg, they say, she's too angry. And honestly, don't we all remember how we were as teenagers? So this is the moment for companies and for crisis communicators to reckon with a growing trend in climate activism. We've seen it with the Black Lives movement, the Black Lives Matter, as well as other social justice movements, where you see brands wanting to align with one cause or the other, but not able to win them all at the end of the day. So in the next year, I definitely believe that crisis communications or communication strategies by companies when it comes to climate activism is going to become a battleground. On one end, you want to be aligned, you want to say you care, you want to show your sustainability reports, you want to express how you are supporting the younger generation, which is leading the protests to defend their future, but at the same time, you're kind of trying to distance yourself from the more aggressive fractions of this movement, and it's kind of like a tightrope walk, trying to find that balance. Now, as we ride the wave of sustainability, I want to talk about the last trend, which I find, which is eco-friendly products. Now, it's honestly such a shame how we as marketeers are never really involved in product development, isn't that so? Although we've all learned in university about the 4 Ps, yet we're rarely ever involved in product development. So I'm going to take the opportunity of being on this stage to talk to you about eco-friendly product development. We've all seen a fantastic rise in eco-friendly products, and there's an excellent report done by McKinsey earlier this year, which said, in the USA, which said 60% of respondents are willing to pay more for sustainable packaging. However, executives tell you that quite often they launch these products and they don't find the market demand for them. Many companies went under that claimed to be sustainable or tried to be sustainable or had some sort of sustainability related business model could not stay in business, and products could not stay on the shelves simply because they're not able to create the kind of demand, and it's not translating into sales. Why is that? Well, sustainable products come with a price tag. Sustainable materials, sustainable supply chains come with a price tag. And there's another interesting McKinsey report that says that just doing sustainable packaging increases the cost by at least 40%. So on one end, it apparently seems that the younger generation is the one who is driving this demand. Nielsen report says more than 70% of Gen Z and millennials say they are willing to pay more. but how can they? Limited disposable income, reckoning with their own expenses of early adulthood, student loans, lower salaries, and so on. So they're on one end driving the demand, and this is the conundrum here. So companies are producing these products, but on the other hand, to produce these products, it is a little bit more expensive. So I really believe that in the next years, companies will have to put in the expensive R&D, which is another conundrum. How do you put in the expensive R&D to come up with sustainable products, but also at a price that is affordable to not alienate your price point? So what does this all say? I believe that brands that not only align themselves with sustainability values, but also know how to communicate them in an attractive, cut through the clutter, infotainment type content, as well as brands that know how to navigate the risky terrain of crisis communications and climate activism, as well as figure out the delicate balance of how do you manage affordability, will be at the forefront of a market where sustainability is not just a trend, but an enduring ethos. Thank you.
Just asking Namin to stay on stage. As we mentioned, she was one of our game changers, so we have a short memento for her. And also at the same time, we have another game changer with us, Sholto Douglas Home, who is the Chief Sales and Marcomms Officer at Expo City, Dubai. Sholto's hot-footed it from Expo, where obviously they're hosting a small minor thing called COP28. Sholto and his team done a great job pivoting the Expo City site into a sustainable city for work, play and living. And of course, Expo City is currently hosting a huge venue for sustainability. So it's great timing to have both on stage. So we will now present you with your mementos, if we could bring those. I think they're, actually, I can't see the, anyway, I think they're under the Have we got the mementos? Have we got the mementos? We seem to have lost them. Maybe they're such prized assets, someone's stolen them. But we'll come back and we'll present. Yeah, no, my apologies for that. We can't find them. But anyway, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us on stage. Anyway, so yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. All right, thanks. Sorry about that. Thank you. Okay, after that slight hitch, we will move things on to now. We're going to move off topic on sustainability, and we're going to talk non-sustainability. So we'll be talking maximizing efficiency through the power of AI-driven marketing. And we will have Neil Pandya, who's a friend of Campaign Middle East and the CEO of Pixus.
Hello, can you, awesome. Thank you, Justin. I mean, coming to Marcom is like coming back home. I've seen a lot of changes in Marcom from Austin to Justin. Austin was a stricter version, but Justin is a friendlier version and a nicer version at Marcom. But the only thing which has not changed at Campaign is Nadeem. I've been seeing him for the last 3 years, and he's doing a fabulous job. And another thing which has not changed at Campaign is the rules and regulation. Don't violate, don't sell your product, don't talk about your company. So I'm going to focus on those lines as well. Having said that, guys, everything in my presentation today is generated by AI. So every picture, every video which you see in my presentation today is generated by AI. I'm not self-obsessed. The only thing which was put into the AI was every text you see on the slide, and the outputs were generated in this form. So having said that, I mean, Justin, I'm not going to go away from the theme of sustainability. I'll try and merge artificial intelligence and sustainability together. So just to set a context, global digital ad spends largely is $680 billion. And the EMEA digital ad spend is roughly $113 billion. And then focusing to MENA, or MENA, how do you pronounce that, is $5.5 billion. So just setting a context, how big is the digital ad spend in the ecosystem? all of us know MENA is becoming I would say the hub of marketing in this particular region. And there are multiple reasons for it. If you see from the ad spend side, this is one of the only region which is growing 25% year on year. So we're going to go from 5.9 to 6.8 next year. The region is dominated by two bigger regions, which is Saudi, KSA, and UAE as in terms of ad spend. The region is focusing heavily on new things like Vision 2030 in Saudi, NEOM. We heard about COP28, which happened in Dubai this week. So let's be honest, this particular region is becoming the new marketing hub for all of us. Having said that, I just wanted to set context, right? We're not doing just blabbering around what we're going to talk today. Why do we need to pay attention? So I've tried and merged the sustainability angle. Marwa did a brilliant job on oral sustainability, brilliant expertise. Narveen, you did a fabulous job on the marketing side of sustainability. I'll try and put an angle of digital media into sustainability. So that's what I'm going to try and do, and how artificial intelligence can sustain and predict to reduce sustainability as well. So having said that, again, as I said, every picture is generated by AI on my presentation. So some of the facts, I mean, let's talk about it. It's almost $3 million metric tons of emission, which is being generated by online advertising. I mean, all of us are doing impression. I saw a presentation from the second presentation today, which is talking about impressions and everything. Every impression we are buying or we are using, we are generating carbon footprint. 11%, this is an interesting fact. I mean, all of us know COVID was a boon that digital ecosystem accelerated. But within that boom, it was the only 3 years where the carbon footprint significantly increased. So 11% increase in advertising industry's emission, and 32% of each person's carbon footprint. So these are some of the facts to set context in the digital ecosystem. This is interesting. I mean, imagine 1 million, I have a presentation here as well, sorry. 1 million ad impression is equal to 1 metric ton of carbon footprint, which we're talking about. If I have to give some relevance of that, it's almost equal to 200,000 plastic grocery bags. It is equal to 2.4 million plastic straws. So 1 million ad impression, I mean, I think I would have that in a month in my own social media account as well. So this is what we are talking about. Ad impressions of internet itself is 2%, which is equal to aviation's ad impression or carbon footprint, which you're talking about. So this is what we are doing. I think Namin also mentioned that as a consumer, are we ready? Yes, 80% of the consumer wants brands to take action. Now that's where the artificial intelligence or AI comes into the picture. Marcom generally, I mean, Nadeem, Justin, I mean, the theme of Marcom is always to talk about predictions of 2024. So let's discuss what are the predictions from AI perspective, and I will deep dive in each one of them. So I mean, generative AI, we have been hearing for the last 3 years. Hyper-personalization into generative AI is going to be big. Did we imagine that celebrity endorsement also will come through generative AI? I'm going to talk about that as well. Sustainability marketing practices and cross-platform optimization. We are burning ad impressions, targeting maybe Neil on Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Neil really don't want to 10 plus frequency to be targeted to himself. So how through artificial intelligence we can be efficient and bring media sustainability as well. To say that, I will just have a 60-second video about Pixis. Justin, this is the only thing which I'm going to talk about Pixis, nothing else, promise you.
Hello from Pixis, a purpose-built codeless AI infrastructure for growth marketers with targeting, creative, and performance capabilities. Our AI enables businesses to elevate their marketing efficiency, unlocking a minimum of 10 to 15% uplift in key performance metrics. So what makes Pixis the preferred AI suite for so many brands? That's easy. Pixis fits into your tech stack easily, enabling immediate implementation and activation. Our powerful cross-platform features allow continuous monitoring and optimization from a single dashboard. Our robust generative AI suite that enables rapid creation of ad variants customized to each AI-powered audience cohort. And always-on AI learns from all your data points to ensure the best results delivered within 6 weeks. Here's how Pixis helped Kavak decrease their cost per booking by 34%. Targeting AI features, high-intent audience identification and expansion, real-time optimization with automated keyword inclusion, AI-powered audience segmentation, creative AI features, creative variants and copy generator to appeal to every audience cohort, 2.5D visual generator to revamp best-performing creatives, performance AI features, cross-platform bid and budget allocator, cross-platform performance monitoring and optimization, identification of seasonality-based trends. As promised, Kavak observed a performance uplift within 6 weeks of deploying Pixis. Ready to augment your team's potential with AI?
Yeah, so
Schedule a demo now.
that's the power of artificial intelligence into marketing efficiency. So I mean, all the examples which I showed about Kavak is reality. I mean, we improved 57% CPMs only on the back of artificial intelligence. Now, let us talk about two biggest marketeers' challenges and how, without AI and with AI, kind of a transformation. So, for example, one of the biggest challenge marketers have is cross-platform optimization. How do, as a marketer, I'm targeting Narmeen, Marwa, Justin on different platforms at any given point of time. And I'm doing media wastage in that. Without AI, you really can't do that. You can't control either. Narmeen will get frustrated and tell us that I don't want to buy a particular brand at all. Stop targeting me. Or I will lose an individual or a customer altogether. So that's a without AI scenario. Imagine the entire scenario with AI. With AI, you can control cross-platform optimization, cross-platform creatives. So how do we do? So Narmeen, sorry to put you on the spot. I'm taking your name again and again because you spoke before me, and that presentation is stuck on that. So imagine I have to target cohorts or segments like Narmeen across different platforms. Through artificial intelligence, I will cap the frequency at 5+, and I will tell that I will target this cohort only 2 times on Meta, 2 times maybe on Google, and 1 time only on LinkedIn. So that's how I will control, rather wasting the duplication here and there. So that's the power of AI. Another biggest problem which most of the marketers have faced today is that we're talking about personalization for years now. But how does this personalization happen? You get the media team into a room, you get the creative guy into the room, you get the brand guy into the room, all of them brainstorm, then 20 days down the run, the creative guy will give you the output. And by the time you want to do personalization, that audience has already left. So imagine a situation on a click of a button, you hyper-personalize thing in real time. So if Neil wants Nike's white shoes, he will get an ad which is about Nike's white shoes when he wants that. So that's the power of personalization. So that's two biggest marketers' problem. One of the new things which in artificial intelligence which has grown significantly and which we recently launched in Cannes this year is artificial intelligence system where you only input text or audio input and you have capacity to get the output in the form of display, GIF, and even videos. So the next few slides which I'm going to show, the only input in that has gone text or an audio input. So these are the kind of the outputs. In All But Shoes is one of our clients. The only input went in that was the shoe. That's about it. And then we got the brief from the client, creative brief, all of that was inputted, and the outputs generated high-resolution versions are something like this. These are a few more examples. I hear you that, display is easy, anyone and everyone can do it, it's not so difficult. Now you're going to see the next 2 audio ads, audio-video ads, which are created only by input of brief from the client given, and the AI is generated on its own. So the first one is Adidas. The only input went in that is Adidas shoe, and the new campaign which they're going to launch. And this is the output which is generated. The second one is about DIGO. So we are talking about a generation where we can create things on click of a button. Let me show you some example of our existing clients which ads are live. If I go to the next, so DHL is working with Pixis for last 2.5 years now. You will see what was the audio input went into the system and what was the output which was generated.
A video of a yellow DHL van cruising through a valley in Highlands. A cinematic daylight shot with ultra-realistic details.
You see, everything, the grass movement and everything was generated by artificial intelligence. DHL wanted to shoot this in real time. It could have taken 20 days of shoot, $600,000 of maybe the cost, post-iteration of maybe 2 weeks, and then they would have gone live. We did this in $5,000 for them. And we created 5 ads. We did A/B testing for them. And then they took the best version, which was basis their customers' A/B testing. The next one is similar example of Shell.
A video of a Shell-branded F1 car, beginning with a red F1 car ready to race, darting through a racetrack with cinematic close-up shots, and a Shell finishing line outro. Ultra-realistic video.
So I've made my point. This is how the industry is moving into in terms of creative AI generation. The last thing which I wanted to talk about was artificial intelligence into celebrity endorsement. Now imagine how do we do celebrity endorsement without AI and with AI? Without AI, take an example, Zoe Saldana. I have signed Zoe Saldana. I'm going to pay her millions of dollars. It's going to be a time-consuming process because she's going to give me only 2 days in a year to shoot for whatever I want to do it. I'll have to make a crew around it, and it's not going to be immediately going to be generated. Now imagine something artificial intelligence generating outputs of Zoe Saldana, and this is what it will be all about. I mean, it's plug and play. You don't need only 2 days of shoot and only 30 images shot in that 2 days. You can create millions of images generated by AI. And so it's where the world is moving. If you see this particular video, it will show you how artificial intelligence in celebrity endorsement is making the future. So this is how AI in celebrity endorsement is going to move around. Zoe Saldana is signed by us, so I can use that particular thing. But imagine influencer marketing. You have hundreds of influencers. Those guys have only 1 day. In a day, they can maximum create 3 kind of a content or something like that. Imagine those influencers creating multiple content on a click of a button. So that's celebrity endorsement and artificial intelligence. All of these images are just purely generated by AI for reference. In conclusion, how AI and sustainability is going to play a role. I mean, through AI, you're going to start doing precision targeting. You're not going to waste ad impression, like spray and pray kind of stuff. You're not going to go to thousands of people or millions of dollars. You rather go the sharp targeted, precision targeted, and you save that additional ad impressions. It's going to create hyper-personalization. We saw about circular economy in the previous presentations. I'm not going to talk much about it. But artificial intelligence is going to be one way or another helping sustainability in some form or other. And I'm going to just leave everyone with a challenge that, if you are a marketer and you're going to advertise anywhere into it, I challenge you that in any of your KPIs, top of the funnel or bottom of the funnel, and if I don't deliver 10% better through my product, I don't even charge you my fees. So that's a challenge. Drop us an email. Apart from one ugly face, there are two beautiful faces on the screen, which is Mrudula and Gaurav is on the room as well. Try and catch us offline. More than happy to discuss few things. Thank you so much, Justin. And
Many thanks, Neil, for that very informative talk. Just to let you know, I'm available for celebrity endorsements. If you want to speak to me afterwards, I'm more than happy to negotiate my rate with you. It's pretty low, to be honest with you. So now we're going to have take two, and we're going to get Sholto and Namin back on the stage. We found your mementos. You are game changers for campaign, which is a huge honor because it's very hard to choose 10 people. So please come back on stage, get your steps in, 10,000 steps on stage a few times. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you again. So we are moving on. We've done sustainability. We've done many topics. We're now doing gaming. So our next speech will be on rising digital media investment in gaming, winning over traditional platforms. And this will be provided by Ad Scholars. And before that, we're just going to play you a short but very cool video from Ad Scholars. Okay, so can I welcome on stage Srikanth Rayaprulu, who is the CEO and co-founder of Ad Scholars. Thank you.
Hello, hi. A very good morning to one and all here. Thank you, Campaign Middle East, for having me here. So today, I'll be talking about the rising digital media and what are the investments that are happening in the gaming, especially, and how it is actually taking over the other traditional platforms. So my agenda for today, it includes the introduction and then the insights from Middle East, what's happening with respect to gaming, how things have been changing when it comes to the gaming, and why I specifically chose gaming to talk about is something that I would like to discuss. And we'll also look into the current media investments. Actually, Neil was saying a lot about the current media investments that are happening. I'm going to take you guys through that as well. And how gaming is going to win over the existing traditional platforms. And then the future trends and some predictions, as we always do for the 2024 as part of Marcomms Campaign ME. What is gaming going to get in the next year? 2024 is something I'm going to discuss. And then I'm open up for Q&A and the closing statement. Like I said, the introduction will have a couple of things. One is the brief overview about the topic, and then something related to myself. So when it comes with the gaming and how digital media has been involved, it has been something that's happening across for 1 decade. And let me tell you one thing, ladies and gentlemen. What if I say your brand just does not advertise, but be integral part of something immersive, I think gaming is one space for all the brands to actually do that. Because in the digital realm of what's happening in the gaming, the pixels just doesn't end up just building a game, but it's actually a storytelling where brands can become the heroes of the narratives and be part of this. I'm going to discuss a few points regarding how gaming is getting very immersive and how the audience are engaging with it and how actually brands can leverage within the space. And especially I'm going to talk about the connection that the brands can build with the audience, which they might not be able to do with the rest of the traditional platforms. Okay, it's about me, the gamer inside me. My name is Sri. I'm the CEO and founder of AdScholars. AdScholars is a global company based in Middle East, Southeast Asia, India, and we do a lot of product representations in this market. We bring a lot of global gaming inventories and we represent it in this market. The reason I choose is just not the same thing, because it's also my passion for gaming. That's why I wanted to talk. I've been playing games for the last 10 years. So that's me, like having fun in the office all the time. Okay. Before I play a fantastic video, I would like to know from the audience here, please raise your hands. How many of you are gamers here? Good number. We'll get in there. Watch this video.
Let's talk about the gaming industry. Hundreds of millions of people around the world will be unboxing video games and downloading new updates this week, adding billions of dollars to an industry that's already richer than both the global box office and the music business combined. This was Mimetron, the very first game machine that debuted in New York in 1940. Fast forward to the arcade games of the 70s, home gaming consoles, computer games in the 80s and 90s, online gaming at the turn of the century, and now mobile gaming and esports.
Let us introduce our teams
where full-time professional gamers fill stadiums and earn millions, yes, millions of dollars. Let's wrap our heads around some numbers. In 2016, a third of the world's population were video gaming. That's 2.5 billion people. In 2017, more than 660 million people watched other people play video games on platforms like Twitch and YouTube. In 2018, the gaming industry made at least $130 billion. And this is a business that's still growing by about 10% a year.
Okay, a couple of things here to note from the video is, one, the gaming industry is bigger than the global movie industry and the global music industry put together. So that's the huge potential that brands can actually leverage. And second thing, the $130 billion gaming industry has now grown to a $200 billion gaming industry. The next one, I'm going to take some of the insights from the global and the Middle East market when it actually comes from gaming. So in 2022, it was a $200 billion gaming industry, and in 3 years, it's growing more than that. It's going to become a $300 billion industry. And the number of gamers across the world are almost 3 billion, which is 40% of the population on this planet play games on a daily basis. And let's come to the local market. When it comes with the MENA, Middle East market and North Africa, it's a $3 billion industry in 2021, and in 6 years of time, it's going to double and become a $6 billion industry. And it has been increasing when it comes with the gamers that are playing games. Especially when we actually talk about media and today Middle East, one of the biggest things that we talk is about Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia provides like almost 45% of the MENA's gaming market. It's as huge as that. It's almost a $1.8 billion industry, with mobile gaming is at $1.2 billion for the Saudi market. And this is the rest of the MENA gaming market, where you can actually see the biggest ones are, of course, the bigger countries like Turkey and Saudi, Egypt, all of this, and UAE also up there. Saudi is going to invest as huge as $38 billion by 2030. And they're having so many sporting events happening across, and they're going to have around 40,000 jobs just inside gaming by 2030. Some of the facts, I'm again stressing on Saudi because all of this market here, especially the marketeers and the media today is currently interested in Saudi. That's why I'm bringing out some of the facts. 90% of Saudi's population are gamers. Can you beat that? It's as big as that. And KSA holds 19th place across globally when it comes with gaming. And also the gaming population, female population is 42% out of the KSA. Also 25% of Saudis actually play 5 to 6 times a week. The marketeers and the investors have potentially found 3 places, Saudi, UAE and Egypt, as the very huge potential markets when it comes with the gaming. And it's expected to be a $2.8 billion industry by 2026, which is a 56% growth. And especially the best part that needs to be noticed is the mobile games. Because there has been a notion, a misconception that gaming is something like a guy is playing with a chair in a dark room. That's no more like that. It's mostly mobile games, and everyone here out with smartphones are the gamers. These are some of the trending mobile games that are actually in the market with PUBG Mobile, Ludo. How many of you guys are there on Roblox here? Spend your time on Roblox? Hands up. Hardly one. Okay. How many are on Candy Crush playing? See, that's a good number. FIFA? Okay. I have a few questions for the media peeps out here, especially if anyone is from the agency side and planners. One of the things I wanted to check is, have you guys run any ads on Roblox yet? Yes, you have done it. That's good to know. I'll answer that why I'm actually specifically asking about Roblox. And how many of you here think gaming has a great potential when it comes with the brands to consider? So, like the gaming market, I said only 30% of the people here, I think, agree with this. I've been talking to some of the agencies and trying to understand where the market is going, but we don't see the attraction towards gaming that brands want to do and want to spend their dollars here, unlike what's happening in the US and the other markets. Why I've been specifically talking about Roblox is, again, people think Roblox is a metaverse. It's for people, kids and teens and all of that. No. Roblox, 40% of daily active users are above age 18 years. And it's 3 million users just in the MENA who are spending almost 1 hour every day playing Roblox. Okay, getting in the topic of why I'm stressing about gaming, because gaming is one place where you tend to have the immersive nature, where the gamers completely involve themselves into the gaming. And if the brands know the technique of subtle ways of putting themselves into the games, they have a great opportunity out here. And games are beyond, they have the diversity. It's, the age, the gender, and the culture, it breaks all the barriers. If the brands want to give out a message across different cultures, this is one place where you actually get to see that. Again, one of the notions, one of the misconceptions that they have is, it would be kids and children playing a lot games. No. If you look at the stats, 65% of adults 18 plus age play games on a regular basis, and almost 48% of these video gamers are female audience. So again, I've seen a lot of hands going up when I said Candy Crush than when I said FIFA or Roblox or anything. So the brands should actually know this, that to target women, it's just not the lifestyle, it's also, a sector like gaming is also available there. And these are some of the other stats saying and proving once again that gaming is very diverse to reach, and especially when it comes with the nationalities, Saudis and the Emiratis are way much into the gaming. Like I said, 90% of Saudi people are into gaming, and a lot of Lebanese spend a lot of time in the gaming. So that's one of the interesting facts. So when I talk about gaming, it's very immersive. So there has been this in-gaming which has been trending for the last 3-4 years. For the people who doesn't know how in-gaming works, here's the video. So that's how brands can actually keep inside the games in a subtle way, keeping it very immersive and at the background so that the audience can enjoy what's happening. And one of the very good factor with this is it's non-intrusive ad formats that the brands can actually place. And it could be either static and sometimes it could be also dynamic, keeps changing as per the marketing campaign that's happening. And while Metaverse is taking over a lot of things, inside the gaming, brands are putting their items that can be kept for sales, and people are using NFTs and cryptocurrencies to purchase this. This is going to be the near future for all of us. If you can see some of the examples of how in-game advertising has been placed, this is Wiz Khalifa for the concert has been placing on PlayStations and Xbox. Disney for the movies, they actually promote it inside the games on how it looks like. Hot Wheels has been doing it, and even Barack Obama for his campaign has done in-gaming ads. And the next big thing, the Metaverse, already all the brands are there, like Forever 21 is there. Nike has built Nike Land inside Roblox, where a lot of engagement is getting done. H&M has been there, and Coca-Cola has built this bubble jacket for people to buy on crypto and NFTs that can be used across multiple metaverses. And apart from the immersive advertising, the very interesting part is interaction. How can we make the users engage with your ads? This is something that we can do inside the games. Either we can do the rewarded videos or the rich media interactive ads, wherein we can ensure that people will actually play along with it.
Excuse me, hey!
This is one of the games that we have actually designed for the Igloo brand, wherein we have put the pinball of penguin keep collecting the chocolates and ice creams of Igloo when they keep falling, and the score can be measured from that. You can actually scan and play if you're interested to do that. So this kind of interactive games and building mini games inside the gaming is something brands should definitely look into. Okay, I'm going to run you through quickly on the digital media investments, where they're currently happening. And the industry has grown from a 4.4 billion to a 7.9 billion industry when it comes to the digital media. And especially Saudi market is bigger than UAE. It's 2023, it's going to spend around $2 billion when it comes with digital media. Where is all of this money going? 75% of this money is just going to Facebook and Google. The rest 25% is spread across Snapchat, TikTok, and all the other social media, and a few has been left for the ad networks and the gaming platforms. And if you see, there is 11% of usually people spending like on the games, but the spends from the brands is hardly 4%. So there is a bigger scope where the brands can actually increase their spends on the gaming. And some of the insights is, like I said, the 75% budgets are only going on social media, and gaming is not getting the enough traction in this market when it comes with the media spends, unlike what's happening across the global markets, especially the US and the Europe markets. So how can gaming win over these traditional platforms? One is the flexibility, because unlike the static TV slots or anything, it's always dynamic that can be done. And the targeting options, it's the first party data that you get and the brand lift surveys that you can do, apart from what you guys only do on YouTube. And the measurable ROI, each dollar spent on gaming is what you receive back. Especially the important factor is the creativity, where the brands can be part of the story narration in the game and actually give a good message out there. And it's a huge playground. It just doesn't end up with mobiles. It's spread across to PCs, consoles, PlayStation, Xbox, and the metaverse and the augmented reality, all of this coming in. And the other thing, main thing that the Middle East market is looking is into the gaming influencers who've been very active on Twitch and other parts. And this is where the budgets are coming in the recent times. So some of the predictions considering the gaming for the 2024 are 4 things, a couple of trends. One, there will be a spike on the virtual reality integration that's happening across. And the esports market is going to grow. And definitely there is a good surge in the media spends that is going to happen across gaming. And there are the big corporates that are entering. So when it comes with the virtual reality, the augmented reality and mixed reality has come across, with the HoloLens from Microsoft and Google investing onto it. And especially there is this Tesla suit that has come in where the gamers can actually feel the environment, like from a small pinch to a hit to all of this. That is something that's going to be trending in the next year. Esports as a market has been growing. We have Saudi having this 2024 esports for the first time. They're doing a huge World Cup. So that is one of the interesting things to look at. And even we have the MENA Middle East, the global hub for the esports located in Dubai, UAE. Some of the big corporates that are entering the gaming are Netflix is an interesting thing to look at because Netflix has been actively building games and there are huge launches expected this year. Microsoft, as we all know, has acquired Activision at almost $70 billion in the beginning of the year. So that's one of the biggest things that has happened. And Google, Sony, the existing players like Tencent and Nintendo are growing much bigger in the 2024. So finally, I'm going to conclude here. Let me reiterate the importance of gaming. This is a platform where you're trying to connect, engage, and give a story of your brand inside the gaming to the audience rather than sticking to the traditional platforms. By the way, we have a booth outside. Please do come there and play the games and win a PlayStation. Thank you so much. And if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy. Thank you, Justin.
Okay, welcome back everybody. I hope you enjoyed your coffee and pastries and are fully fired up for our panel discussion. It's a very interesting topic. Less trees and windmills, exclamation mark. How can marketing and communication teams drive distinction for brands and deliver unique commercial sustainability outcomes? And I'm joined on stage by moderator Alison Henshaw, who's the Managing Director, Chief Commercial Officer for MENAT at HSBC Bank Middle East, Hayley Ford, Global Head of Marketing and Communications, Seagrass, which is a subsidiary of E.ON, and Kim Hardacre, who is the CEO and founder of Hardacre & Co. Thank you for joining us today, and
thank you for coming back into the room.
And Alison, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's great to be here. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate we've rushed you from coffee, so hopefully your cups are full. We have all been at COP this week, and I think it's safe to say that sustainability is front and center of all dialogues these days. And Hayley asked me to come and talk to you guys and ask questions around how marketing and branding and communications can really drive sustainability within companies. So I'm going to start by asking some questions to Kim and Hayley. We will try and have questions at the end as well, so do speak up if we'd like to make this interactive if possible. So pictures of trees and windmills seem to dominate marketing imagery about corporate sustainability. How can you use your influence as marketeers to raise awareness that sustainable business practices are about so much more? Kim, would you like to start?
Sure. Thank you, Alison. Thanks, everybody, for having us. It's exciting to be here as part of COP, actually. As Alison says, it's a key topic for all of us. And I think as marketeers, we have a great opportunity to tell the story of our organizations. And I think, too, how do we move away from the traditional images we're all used to seeing? And that's really built on the foundation of your core business. And that sustainability needs to be part of your DNA, not just a project or not just an activity or not just a marketing campaign. And I think that's really key. And as a lot of us are exploring the complex landscape of sustainability, I would really encourage us as marketeers to look at what's happening in the marketplace, look around at your competitions and who's doing it well, who's also not doing it well. I think there's great examples out there we can all learn from, as people probably jumping the gun and saying that they're more sustainable or their sustainable intentions have not yet delivered the results. And really using it as a space and a community of marketeers to say, how can we work better together to actually tell a great story and really capture the hearts and minds of our consumers or also our internal stakeholders.
That's great. And just building on that a bit, I mean, how can we use customer insights and market trends to drive the adoption of sustainable practices and products?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all marketeers here, so it starts with insight. And just to feed off what Kim's saying around the brand thing, in my mind, the kind of windmill and tree title of that topic came up because if you look at, I think it's like there's a study, 100 of the FTSE 100 companies got analysed on what pictures they were using, in their ads, and it was solar panels, trees, or windmills. And on the whole, I think they repeated 7 Getty images in 20% of their communication. And often it has nothing to do with the brand promise or the brand pledge they're making. So it's not very distinct. And if you think about sustainability, and this is where insight's really important, is often it is a challenger strategy in a company. Like, a lot of these companies are born out of the Industrial Revolution. So it starts with a pledge, and then how do you operationalize that and actually have meaningful campaigns that speak to consumers and win the hearts and minds? I mean, the Patagonia campaign that came out on Black Friday for that R2 jacket, which basically said, do you really need to buy this jacket, is really challenger in the way that it goes to market and plays on the fact that the insight and the motivations of their customers are all around conscious consumption. So they really tapped into an insight of their customer growth, which is very sustainable and increasingly a youth movement to drive sales in one of their biggest selling products on Black Friday. The other part is, if you look at insight questions that brands are asking, it's often, do you want to be sustainable, or are you taking action to be sustainable? It's the same answer over and over again. 90% of people will say yes. But what do you do with that? Firstly, who are the 10% that are saying no, and why? And then how do your commercial teams and their marketing teams design products of quite a nascent question? So you need to go deeper with the insight. And often it's incremental small changes, and I know you've got a great example from your time at Etihad that really do turn the needle and that you can storytell off. I was with HSBC and worked with them for Alison before, but we really got nudged during COVID to think about how we brought all of our customers onto digital channels, and that was driven by an insight that came in as a pivot because of COVID, but really just looking at those small customer behaviors and nudging them.
I think if I can just add to that, so prior to starting my own business, I managed the frequent flyer program of Etihad Airways, Etihad Guest, and in the last 2 years, we launched what was a world's first actually, sustainability chapter of the loyalty program. And that was driven on the strategy of the airline overall, not just to make travel more sustainable, but as a lifestyle and loyalty program, we had 8 million members where we could influence to make their everyday more sustainable. And we did that through a variety of different ways, but at the core, as we've been discussing here and Hayley mentioned, we actually took not only consumer insights, but behavioral sciences and behavioral economics, which many of you would be familiar with, and really having a bit of a rebirth now, which is nudging. So our insights told us that carbon offsets were an intangible, I suppose, benefit that we could offer to our consumers to use their loyalty currency to purchase or their frequent flyer miles. But that action to value gap was so broad, people couldn't see or feel a carbon offset. And potentially if it's in a forest in Tanzania, it's not relevant to me. I don't feel anything for Tanzania versus, I know you can't tell I'm Australian with my accent, but let's say around the corner. So we worked with Carbon Click, based out of New Zealand, a carbon offset provider, to actually build very specific carbon offset amounts. So if I drive a small car or I have to pay for the power in my apartment, they were all relative examples that I could really relate to me as a person. And by liberating our loyalty currency, we showed members that we didn't just want you to use your currency to fly, we wanted you to make your everyday more sustainable. And I think that as well is this sense of community that comes into sustainability as we are in this together. And for a corporate to say, we want to help you contribute to your own sustainability journey or participate in ours. So it wasn't an either or, it was an and that was a really powerful, series of initiatives that were led off consumer insights.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this is around incentivization, what actually drives that customer to want to click on the offset or purchase a product. And if you kind of think that macro question I was asking, do you want to be sustainable? Yes, no. If they don't, you're probably not going to nudge them or it's too expensive. So you've got to look at the incentivization behavioral patterns as to why people will go and make conscious choices. And often there's a feel-good factor. They don't want to be isolated. We were talking about that earlier. But the other thing is they will do it if they are rewarded. And so you are starting to see a pattern of brands building in rewards across their customer campaigns. And I think that will develop as we need to bring geographies like Asia with us.
And I think that's why it's important that we move away just from the trees and the wind farms, because it needs to be much more real to people and making it much more personal. And I guess that moves to our next question around how do we make sure that the sustainability marketing efforts are authentic and transparent? So how are we really making sure, and this isn't something that's just here to tick the box and for the next few years. This is something that we all need to do for the future to make sure we're all here in 25 years. So how do we really drive that transparency and make this more authentic?
I feel the problems around greenwashing and advertising are actually inflated on the marketing teams. I think it's a bit more of an organizational issue, actually, where transition or sustainable practices are rooted in like quite complex subjects, like science, if you think about getting carbon out the air and the technologies, and social justice. These are really new concepts of value and strategy to businesses. And I think there's been this thing about, oh, we must have this, go make it. And actually not so much organizational kind of thought around how do we do this. It's coming. And so people probably have rushed out the door with communication or been told to. I think if marketing teams can influence the organization by asking questions around why does this make sense, here's the insight, and really looking at this kind of holistically, there will be less of a gap between saying something and actually not doing it. The other watch out is your brand growth. If you look at brands that are growing, look at Tesla, look at some of these like born green companies, they're not green either, right? Tesla's getting challenged on how sustainable is that business. The co-founder has now invested a huge amount of money in building the biggest recycling facility in the desert to take the Tesla batteries back. So I think people have to look at the holistic view of their business and their operations, and then derive marketing campaigns that kind of fall from that. And the other thing is to be part of industry groups, because when you get a ruling, like the stuff we've seen in the UK and America, there is a huge vacuum for sectors and ecosystems that are part of your business to come together and solve this. I think being more proactive, so there is guidance and you bring the youth up through this movement is really important.
Is that the best way to navigate stakeholders internally? Because sometimes the CFO won't necessarily agree with the CSO or the CMO. So how is that, being part of groups and partnerships is a way to sort of navigate that discourse, do you think?
I think you had a good analogy. There's two parts to that. There's like proving through industry groups and on your own, but we were talking about how you bring organizations along on this brand journey.
We were, and I think this is one of the critical aspects of any business actually choosing to make sustainability a core priority is what's the business case for sustainability? We're all used to looking at our top line and our bottom line and our cost, and some of the value sets that come with sustainability don't fit into that traditional model. And so there's a term of rewiring the economy, which I think is an important concept in which we're reimagining what value looks like. And sustainability will bring new types of value to an organization that we don't currently measure. We know that's a complex area as well, and it's some of the challenges. We're not measuring things equally across sectors and across companies in the same sector, even across markets. But from my perspective, when we were workshopping various initiatives inside Etihad, was finding shared sources of value across different departments. And naturally, marketing can come with a lot of insights, we come with a lot of data, and we come with a lot of feedback about how things have performed in the market. That was really useful combined with the other sources of information that the other stakeholders are looking at. But I think really the core is how are we looking at value, how are we looking at shared value and shared KPIs so that we can really have an open, honest conversation to say how can we do this together, because, as the saying goes, you can't do it alone, you have to do it together, and for it to be part of the business is to have a company full of champions, not just coming with all the ideas, but creating forums to welcome ideas and nurture, youth or new startup and create new opportunities for people to participate in that sustainability story, because it hasn't necessarily been written. Chapters are being written right now as we're on the stage.
Just on that point, and before we move to the audience questions, if somebody was starting off now and wants to really embed sustainability into their marketing campaigns, what advice would each of you give?
I mean, the sustainability wave that has come is a bit like the digital one. The core components of marketing skills don't change, right? It's insight, it's prop design. You're going to have to speak to customers. I mean, the channels by which you do that are changing, and the sustainability youth movement means it's much more platform driven. But I would say, stick to what you're really good at from a strengths perspective in your toolbox of marketing skills. But to upskill in sustainability, you're going to have to be curious about what that means. What does that look like for the customers? What are the ecosystems your customers are working in? How are they going to be disruptive? I mean, personally, when I fell into this, because I took an interest in how cities were changing about 5 years ago, I did go and do a program to just learn more and also be with other industries, not just look at sustainability from the purview of your kind of desk or your own organization. But yeah, I would say be curious about the subject matter and feel comfortable knowing that you won't have all the answers. So ask your CSO questions. I mean, that's part of the reason you're here. You're the commercial officer at a big bank. There's going to have to be attention and questions asked.
Yeah, and we have to work together. I think that's the only way.
I mean, really, I think you've captured the main parts and about the curiosity. I have a similar journey as well of since leaving Etihad, I've pursued some studies in sustainability because I wanted to really have a better understanding of the landscape, and because you don't necessarily learn it all, as you say, from your own desk. But I do really think that curiosity is key, and being part of all communities, whether it's those in your industry, whether it's those in sustainability, just asking questions, doing your research. And I think I said it before as well, look at what else is in the marketplace. And there are those examples of where there's winners and there's a lot of negative feedback. So a great example is Lego and Shell. They were boycotted for their advertising campaign for over-declaring their sustainability efforts. So I think you can take a lot of learnings for those. But I do like what Hayley said as well, and I do also believe greenwashing, while its intention is good, I think it's scared a lot of people and a lot of organisations for actually showing or talking about even the small steps that they have made in the right direction. And naturally, all organisations, you have to crawl before you run, especially in this field, because it will take time. I think at the end of the day, if you were to really say what's at the core of true sustainability marketing, good sustainability marketing, is honesty, pure intentions, and transparency.
I'll just build on what, the great thing about sustainability is this isn't going to be a strategy that comes from the board and is driven down. I find when I was at COP yesterday and we were with young innovators specifically around grids and technologies. They know more about what is possible than your traditional companies and your 60-year-old CEOs. So it's actually incumbent on a lot of the youth, be it marketing, communications, or the commercial teams, to challenge the leaders in the operations and the companies to say, that's not enough, we can be more challenger around this. I think about some of the great marketing campaigns that have really pushed the needle, like the way Brewdog is communicating, the way the WWF campaign around Stop Climate or It Will Change You. That was a really young marketing team that used AI to essentially to model what humans would look like if they were subjected to climate change, or animals. And I think often these really nutty strategic things in companies always feel a bit top-down. Sustainability doesn't have to be like that.
That's great. Thanks, Hayley and Kim. Are there any questions in the audience? I'm conscious that we have to get back to COP, but I'm hoping there might be some questions. I can't really see you all because it's super bright.
No questions.
No questions? Okay.
Should we take one more?
Yep. Okay, we'll go to one more question. I mean, we talked a bit about corporate partnerships, but Where can we say that they've really amplified sustainability action and built brand credibility? You mentioned Patagonia, but that's quite a kind of perfect example, one might say. What other brands would you kind of call out to say that this is something? I mean, the stuff that H&M's doing with some of the ecosystems around supply chains, I think is quite powerful. But are there any others that you would say would are kind of a good example?
Yeah, I think a relevant example, which is nice in the marketplace right now, is Adidas and Parley. Obviously, we all know Adidas, but Parley is an ocean plastics company. And through innovation, and I would actually just jump back to the previous question, innovate, be prepared to make big ideas, because that's also what's influencing a lot of change in the sustainability space. So together they pioneered how to make shoes out of completely recycled ocean plastic. So I think that is a really nice way that brands have also come together, because Adidas has such a big platform that I don't think many of us that hadn't worked in sustainability would have known Parley as a brand. But to be able to see them really change that landscape and draw awareness, which I think Patagonia did really well as a consumer brand, it's now synonymous with sustainable or slow consumption. And that is an incredible, I think, progress in the field of how consumer brands, not in a origin of sustainability, have had incredible partnerships to really fast forward that conversation and bring it to the everyday person.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take one on the kind of emission side and then maybe one on the social side. So at E.ON, we're a big utility company. We distribute gas, but also one of the largest grid providers for renewable energy in Europe. And one of the things we have to do is, because the technologies are not there through the supply chain, is to buy carbon credits to offset residual emissions. But the projects were just not there to invest in. They weren't high quality enough. Often the transparency in the project wasn't there. So with a band of other utility and kind of hard to abate sectors, we invested in the LEAF Coalition, which is hundreds of millions of dollars to put to good work in reduction and nature-based solutions to really drive climate action. And I think that was just a recognition that actually you can't go this alone, and if you're going to drive scale, you need joint investment, joint shared practice. And that was a response to the industry, where they were saying, are these projects good enough? The other one I really like, and you'll like this because it's an HSBC example on the social side, was what HSBC UK did about 3 years ago around social justice for homelessness. So it was a no fixed address. So to be able to get a job in the UK, you need a postcode. You need a fixed address to open a bank account. So you had lots of people who were homeless through often no fault of their own, but economic circumstance, particularly during COVID. And the bank teamed up with Oxfam to provide one fixed address so that they could provide bank accounts to essentially get people off the streets through economic growth. And you just think about what that does to people, not just watching that action, but the people that then get jobs and incomes and want to grow their life, you know, and be treated equitably. That is a huge initiative for a brand to take on. That wasn't easy, but the new customers it acquired as well that migrated because of the social justice action there was huge. So those are just two examples.
Yeah, and I think that really shows the span of ESG. It's not just the E, it's the S as well. And I think to the point you made earlier, Kim, it's not going to be perfect day one. I think it's small steps, but all companies need to take credible action. And I think through the marketing and engagement with customers, they really can sort of keep this going and make sure that something bigger happens eventually, but just kind of keep chipping away. That's great. Thank you.
I think if I can just close one little bit more on that is, you know, as marketeers, we tell stories, right? At the end of the day, that's all built on, and we were talking about this before, that the neighboring effect is one of the most powerful for sustainability. Shaming people and scaring people doesn't work. Win-win does, and a beautiful vision of a carbon-free future is what we're all subscribing to. And I think it's really important to look at that and say, how can you really influence that positive change? Because even a small story might inspire your neighbor. And in an agency environment for your clients, I think it's that positive momentum that happens as a result of stories being told. So I think that would be a final statement for me, is to think about the positive influence your stories can have, and you might not even know it. You don't always know who's watching, but I think you have a real potential and a real opportunity to tell great stories of even small iterative change.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alison.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you very much to Alison, Hayley and Kim. I know you're going to hot-foot it to COP28. I can't believe those guys decided to have their event just at the same time as us and choose sustainability, but there you go. And you make some very good points about ESG, the wider issue of environmental, social and governance, where sustainability fits. Now moving on, we now have a presentation for you called Living Visual, New Era of Event Design and Communication, and it's provided by Premo, Eventum Premo. And before that, we have a short video by Eventum Premo to show you. Okay, do you want to, yeah. Do you want to introduce? Okay, you want to do that? Okay, all right, cool. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, can you hear me? I'm in UAE dreaming about who we used to be. So, hope you enjoyed our video show reel. My name is Artyom, I'm a CEO and the co-founder of Eventum Prema Agency, so our event agency and creative agency. So proudly, Eventum Prema stands among the top 50 world event agency by the Eventex USA magazine. And we are one of the most awarded agency in the Eastern Europe. So our extended portfolio reflects collaboration with a myriad of international brands, such as you can see on the screen. And now let me introduce our Chief Creative Director, Pavel Tun, the most awarded creative director in Eastern Europe. Yep, thank you.
Hello, thank you so much. Today, I want to share with you my feelings about where we are at this point of evolution. We are now at the dawn of the new era of branding and marketing, where technology and imagination converge to create an immersive narratives. Today we explore this future, and today we use technologies like NI and other tools, like not just tools, but partners in crafting stories, creating storytelling, and create stories that can resonate to every heart and every mind. But first of all, humanity always created something new, always created stories. It's somehow in the core of our evolution. It's deeply inside of us. First of all, at the beginning, it was like this. We created stones. We was hunting and gathering some foods, and it was several million years. After that, there was a Neolithic revolution. We started agriculture, and we invented cattle breeding and a little bit more sharp rocks. After that, there was industrial revolution and industrialization. We invented, as a humanity, we invented child labor. No, I'm kidding. We invented heavy machinery and factories. And this period was for several centuries. And this one is more familiar to you, I believe. It was an information revolution. We invented computers, and this thing to scratch a back very conveniently. And this period lasted for a couple of decades. And now I want to welcome you to the new era. It is the augmented age, as we call it. It is a concept that describes an era where technology and technology development, when artificial intelligence, virtual reality, gamification, augmented reality, and plenty of other technologies help humanity, help every people to live significantly better life in different ways. As a marketer, as a marketing expert, as a creative director, I use AI and use technology every day. Now it is just a better way to tell stories, better way to visualize your ideas. So first of all, it is a great opportunity to spend your creative team resources only on things that are really important on your clients. So you can use an AI to visualize your communication designs, use it for social media marketing, and so on and so on. Also, some of our clients allow us to generate some kind of setup concepts, scenes, as lightning fast solutions for events. There are some examples. All these pictures, all these images are from our work, from our keynotes, from our negotiations with our clients. And all these images are generated. Using an AI and other different technologies increased speeds of our creative processes. But the very important thing, every artificial intelligence, every neural network, every technology is nothing without a great team that can bring your ideas, bring your beautiful images to life, to reality. And in our world, brimming with millions of breathtaking images and concepts, the true magic lies in bringing these visuals to life. Nowadays, technology serves as a bridge between the boundless realms of imagination and the experience of reality. So today it's not just about envisioning or creating some visuals that will catch your clients or your guest's eye and get in their mind or in their heart. It's about the alchemy of turning them into something real, into real setup made of wood and metal and other materials, into something tangible, something that will bring your ideas to life. And there has to be a person, has to be someone who can use these images or different AI products as a blueprint for what can be achieved. So you should have a right team to transform your AI ideas to real life. So I want to visualize, I want to share with you our AI or render to reality attitude. So there are some examples of our real projects that we made during a few last years, and the images of how we visualized it on the early stages of projects with the help of an AI. And I wish you could find the generated images and where the generated images and where the photos. And today we understand that people are the key value. So we want to share how our team turns renders or AI-generated content into reality. But the AI is not the only technology we use. We use generative content, we use different multimedia sensors and different projections and so on and so on. So if you want to make a multimedia project, welcome, we are here. But the very important thing, when you have many technologies, the more technologies you have in your project, the more strong should be your story you're telling. In Symphony of Technologies, the story is the melody that harmonizes every note. And our guests don't just come to our events to witness different technologies. They come to hear and feel and to be swept away in a story we're trying to tell them as a brand, as a marketing team, as a storyteller. The more advanced tools we use, the more strong and fulfilling story we should tell. So here with this attitude. Technology is not the protagonist, but the medium, the voice through which we should tell stories and get into minds and into the hearts of our audience. So as I said, the more technology we have, the greater the role of a story which unites everything you create. And the last and not the least important point is sustainability. We've been thinking as an event and multimedia agency, we've been thinking about sustainability a few years ago, even before the market of events started thinking about it. In addition to creativity and technology, we must remember about the responsibility. So we, approximately 5 years already, part of Sustainable Event Alliance, and we some kind of avant-garde in the event sustainable attitude. So we already creating an events, conferences and festivals with zero carbon footprint or minimizing the carbon footprint. We're trying to use the materials that are selected so that they can be easily recycled or disposed of or upcycled. For example, the banners for music festivals can be upcycled into merch, into shoppers or some other stuff that can be sold and used on the next year of the festival. We're trying to minimize and optimize the number of trips during production period of the event and during the organization, during the event itself. And we count our footprint of the event and footprint and if offset and trying to back it up by a transfer to one of the funds that make changes in the environment. So I guess we don't have enough time for a Q&A session, so I'll be glad to discuss this topic and answer your questions in our interactive multimedia zone at the Welcome Hall, where you can make a track and take part in our multimedia installation. Thank you so much. If you want to make events or make something connected with multimedia or want to find out a little bit more about our project and about what we do and how we try to change the market, please welcome and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Toon. That's very interesting about events and how they're becoming more sustainable, but some other things, a very dynamic industry. Well, it hurt my ears, but I'll carry on like a true soldier. Our next presentation is the crucial role of advertising in promoting sustainability. I've seen the slides for this one and it is very cool. And it was going to be presented by Santiago Cuesta, who is Executive Creative Director of TBWA RAD. Please join us on stage. Thank you. Okay, unmiking to mic up should take seconds. Okay. Santiago, here we are. Come and join us. Do you need this click?
Hello? Can you hear me? Check, check, check. Okay. Thanks for coming. My name is Santiago Cuesta. I'm Executive Creative Director at TBWA RAT. And I'm super honored to be here to share my presentation that is called Ad for a Better World, that focuses on the crucial role of advertising in promoting sustainability. I'm from Colombia. That's my country. Actually, my mom is here visiting from Colombia. Hola, madre. Hola a todos. And I moved to Dubai 4 months ago. Actually, I was living in the United States, but I moved 4 months ago to Dubai. And in Colombia is an amazing country. It's the second most biodiverse country in the world. It's home to over 1,800 species of birds. And this green thing that you see here is the Amazon. It's huge. It covers 35% of the total territory of Colombia. And I have always been super passionate about nature. I love nature. I'm super passionate about I've been super passionate about human rights and especially environmental causes. But in 2020, something changed my mind and changed my life. The Amazon changed my life. Actually, Hani Silva changed my life. And in 2020, we received this brief about Hani Silva from Amnesty International. Who's Hani Silva? She has dedicated her life to defending the Amazon. And her cause was not against the extraction of oil in the Amazon, but to do it but against conducting it in a non-sustainable way. So because of this, she received threats and her life was in danger. Amnesty International, they do this campaign every year that is called Right for Rights. And the campaign is the biggest, the largest human rights campaign in the world. And every year, millions of people from around the world, they send letters to activists supporting their actions. And in 2020, they select Hani Silva. So 500,000 people send letters to support to her. So we travel to the Amazon, that's me, with Hani. We travel 4-hour boat travel in the Amazon, most of the most beautiful experiences that I have in my life. And when we get there, in the middle of the Amazon, she was there, and despite all the difficulties, despite her life was in danger, she was kind, she was optimist, positive, and she was always trying to help. So the big question was, how can we get all these letters to Hani in the middle of the Amazon? 500,000 letters, imagine, from everywhere in the world. That was like, I remember in Colombia, there was like 5 rooms of letters. How can we get all those letters to Hani in the world? So we use technology and we use creativity. So we developed an algorithm that analyzed data collected from all the letters, identifying the most common words and phrases to create one single word that we call it a letter from the world, written by millions of hands from all over the world, a symbol of support, gratitude, and admiration for those who protect the Amazon. And keep in mind, this was in 2020. This was before ChatGPT. Now it will be more easy to do this, but in 2020, we spent like 6 months trying to developing this algorithm. So, and the result was amazing. We collected all the data from all these 500,000 letters to put it in one letter, and then the result was amazing. This is the result.
Querida Yani.
Dear Hani.
Cher Yani.
Quiero que sepas que te apoyo y admiro tu trabajo.
Agradezco de aquí hasta el Putumayo, en mi nombre y el de todas las personas,
tu enorme valentía para defender el medio ambiente y la Amazonía.
Notre planète a besoin de plus de défenseurs comme toi
que cuiden nuestros recursos más valiosos.
No puedo imaginar lo difícil y peligroso que es tu trabajo.
Pero sí te puedo decir con certeza
that you are making a great difference. Thank you.
Gracias.
Your bravery and strength in protecting this world has inspired hundreds of thousands of people
para cuidarte a ti, a tu familia, a tu comunidad y a la Asociación de Desarrollo Integral Sostenible per la Amazónica a la que perteneces.
Sii forte, sappi che non sei sola e che non sarai mai sola perché gli occhi del mondo sono su di te.
Colombia, tu país es tan bello que tendría que hacer entrar en razón a tu gobierno.
I know that many people who only think about money and power
te han amenazado e intimidado y solo puedo imaginarme los peligros y los miedos que has vivido.
Pero la tierra está vigilándolo.
Mientras tú sigues enseñándonos a devolver a la naturaleza lo que nos da.
Yanni, ton travail est baume non seulement pour la Colombie, mais pour toute la planète.
Seguí en tu lucha.
May this 2021 turn out to be kinder than 2020.
Ya lo es.
Every year that passes is a better year thanks to your fight and your courage.
Un abrazo enorme.
El mundo.
So I always get emotional with this. It's amazing all the support that we receive. The government took action and protect her life, and this was the result. I don't know if you're familiar with the result from case studies from the EFIS and advertising, 12 million impressions, social media impressions. This was the result of that campaign. This campaign has kept me alive, thanks from the bottom of my heart. What better result than that? So, and then after that, I moved to Kansas City from Colombia. That country that I show you with those many species and everything, I moved to Kansas City in the middle of the Midwest and everything, and I wanted to keep helping. This is my plant, her name is Cumbia. She's still in Kansas City. But I moved to Kansas City, but my question was, how can I make a difference here? I want to make a difference everywhere that I go. How can I make a difference here? So we have, at that time I was working for Intel, the technology company, and Intel, they're big, they're huge within the gaming community. In the gaming community, most of them, they're Gen Zers, but they know the problems of the world. They want to help, but they don't know how. They don't know how to help. So we created this campaign that is called
E-waste has become a huge environmental problem, and gamers are one of e-waste's biggest contributors. Always upgrading, but rarely e-cycling. And as a leader in gaming tech, Intel wanted to educate gamers about e-cycling. So we dove into the world's most popular game, Animal Crossing. A game where players turn an empty island into the perfect paradise, and where everything around you has value. Except for one thing, a piece of outdated tech called the rusted part.
Rusted parts are trash.
Rusted part is so pathetic.
Oh my gosh, don't get me started on rusted parts. So we dropped into Animal Crossing as a player. Spent over 1,000 hours gathering, crafting, and painting to build E-Cycle Land. An in-game e-cycling center that turns Animal Crossing's trash into treasure.
This is amazing! And it was turned into a gaming desk. Am I allowed to recycle more than one thing?
E-Cycle Land was such a hit, gamers waited 22 minutes just to gain entry.
This is a cool island to visit, honestly.
I love this island, it's so cute. How did they make this room?
And once they e-cycled their rusted parts, gamers spent an average of 14 minutes exploring the island, learning about e-cycling.
Did you know 54 million tons of e-waste is generated every year worldwide?
Honestly, I learned a lot from all of this. This is a really amazing way to promote that message.
The message even reached gamers outside of Animal Crossing, as top streamers shared e-Cycle Land on Twitch. We made the rusted parts so valuable, people started stealing them from e-Cycle Land. Gamers even created a cheat code so that eCycle Land could become a permanent part of Animal Crossing. Ultimately, eCycle Land taught gamers that when it comes to e-cycling,
Don't throw them in the trash. E-cycle them.
we all have a part to play.
How many of you play Animal Crossing? Yeah? Are you familiar with the roasted parts? Yeah. They are a nightmare, no? So we were teaching all these gamers how to recycle within the game and without them knowing that they were learning something. No? That was like, they spent 20 hours learning things and they thought they were playing. So, and this is really interesting. I love this because you saw Cycleland, the first one, A Letter from the World, is tech plus creativity, and it's very emotional. Cycleland, it was super fun, and we were trying to be fun. For some reason, the use of humor and lighthearted strategies have been decreasing in the world from 2000. And that's worried because I love humor. Who doesn't love humor? Who doesn't love to laugh and to have entertainment? So it's an invitation for keep using humor and lighthearted comms, even for sustainability. They don't have to be heavy or make people feel guilty. They can be humor and lighthearted comms that are powerful strategies. So if you are wondering, if you're making yourself a question right now, how can I make a difference from Kansas City or Abu Dhabi or Rebecca from Romania or from Buenos Aires, how can I make a difference? Well, first, you need to find something that you're passionate about it, something that you know about it. For example, our industry. We can make a difference starting with our industry. And I'm going to play a short clip from Solitary Townsend. She's the founder of Futerra, which is an agency in the UK that focuses only on sustainability.
Now, when you think of the industries most responsible for climate change, you probably summon up an image of an oil rig, right? Maybe even a coal mine or a mega farm, perhaps heavy engineering. But there's one industry that's never mentioned in that list, even though every other industry depends upon it. I'm talking about an economic sector that makes nothing. It has no stock, no warehouses, no factories. It's entirely powered by brains, by spreadsheets, and by PowerPoint. Who is this mystery industry? The professional services of advertising and PR firms, the big management consultancies, the corporate lawyers, and lobbyists. Together, this sector is worth over $2 trillion a year. Let's call it the X industry, where X is for influence. Now, when it comes to climate change, each individual firm in this sector has the carbon footprint probably no bigger than your average kindergarten. But the brain print of the X industry is felt everywhere. And that's because these problem solvers and storytellers act as the grease in the wheel of all other businesses on Earth. And that gives...
So we have a great power, no? We are, as she's saying, we're the grease, the machine that is behind all these industries. So we have a great power, and with a great power it becomes a great responsibility. So basically, we have the power, the immense power, to influence and promote sustainability for a better world. So we have a great power. So this, and I'm about to finish, this is, yeah, it was fun, and we make jokes, and I say hi to my mom, and I've seen some friends from the agency here, back there also. But this is more than a keynote. This is an invitation. This is an invitation for you to use that power. But we cannot wait more. The world can't wait more. Let's start now. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Santiago. Muy emocional, pero muy interesante. Okay. Sorry for my poor Spanish. So our last, but by no means least presentation is from Uber. But before then, we mentioned earlier, we have Game Changers. These are the top 10 marketers for the year that we identified in Campaign Middle East. It was a tough choice. We presented 2 earlier, and we've got a 3rd in the house now. So I'd like to welcome on stage Errol Marquis, who is the head of marketing for Danube Properties. As we know, Danube Properties are everywhere. Everywhere you drive in the UAE, you will see them in a good way. They're always launching new properties and developments, and he's coming on stage now. Pleasure to have you. Okay, thank you everyone for bearing with us. So now we move on to Uber. The talk now is going to be on Uber's sustainability efforts in the region and beyond. And it will be presented by Fadi Nakuzi, who is the sustainability lead MEA for Uber. Please come to the stage. Thank you.
Hi, thank you so much. This is the clicker. All right, cool. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm Fadi, and I'm very excited to be here with you all today. I lead, as was mentioned, I lead the sustainability program at Uber across the Middle East and Africa. And today I'm here to talk about how we bring the magic of product and tech to sustainability and how we're using that to crack the problem. Now, at Uber, our magic is all about reimagining the way the world moves for the better, making transport more affordable, more accessible, and safer, while also making cities more livable through fewer cars, personal cars on the road. And sustainability is at the heart of this mission. As an organization, we have decided to be at the front lines of sustainable mobility. And we want to create opportunities for everyone to live and move in a way that is more conscious of the environment because it is the right thing to do. We believe Uber has a very strong role to play because we have our boots firmly grounded in cities, or should I say wheels, firmly grounded in cities. And in 2020, we made a commitment to become a net zero platform by 2040. That is millions of rides a day, zero emissions overall. And I'm very excited to say that we have been leading the industry when it comes to electrification. Now, at the core of my work is developing ways to make it easy for drivers to go electric and empowering riders to live a low-emission lifestyle. And making it easy for drivers to go electric is the critical factor for Uber to achieve its ambitious sustainability goals. And lucky for me, it's also our most challenging factor. Why? Because we know that vehicle access and charging infrastructure are the key barriers between drivers and them going electric. And it's hard work. I've been doing this for a few years now. I can tell you there is so much to do. It's all around us, but it's not impossible. We just can't do this alone. Sustainability is, I'm sure you've heard this before, it's a team effort, it takes a village, and it's all about partnerships. So we're partnering with cities, with public transport agencies, and other mobility providers to get to this, to get to our vision. And I'd love to tell you a little bit more about that in our next slide. So globally, we're investing $800 million to make it easier and more affordable for drivers to go electric, while also leveraging our platform to drive awareness and increase consumer appetite for more sustainable modes of transportation. And there are tons and tons and tons of examples that we can draw on for types of partnerships. We're working with major car manufacturers, and I'm sure you can name a few. We're working with financing partners to help get deals for fleets or for drivers to move to electric vehicles. We're also working with fleet solution providers. All these different types of partnerships to drive down the cost of acquiring an electric vehicle. Now, we can't talk about electric vehicles without also talking about EV infrastructure and charging. That's why we're working with energy suppliers all across the world to increase access to affordable charging stations for drivers. And so far, our efforts are paying off. Globally, and this is a great statistic, but globally, EV drivers have become the early adopters when it comes to EV technology, electrifying 5 times faster than the general public in the US and Europe. And this is amazing because it helps us test out the technology and improve it for the general public. And this global framework that I just mentioned applies globally, but it also applies locally here. And I'm very happy to say that the Middle East and Africa is one of the key regions that are contributing to our global commitment. And this week, COP's happening in the UAE, and we've been having a lot of conversations, and we've been able to reflect on all of the work that we've done. And I'm so proud at how far the region has come. In Jordan, we launched Uber Green in 2022, giving riders the ability to select technical difficulties, yes. So in Jordan, we launched Uber Green in 2022, giving riders the ability to select a fully electric car at the tap of a button for the first time in the kingdom. In Kenya, we launched a product called Electric Boda. Now, for those of you who don't know, a boda boda is basically a scooter, and it's a very popular way of getting around in Kenya. So now people in Nairobi can just request a fully electric scooter to get from point A to point B. And lastly, in Dubai, most relevant to this crowd, is leading the electrification across the Middle East and could soon become one of our top EV markets globally across Uber. In the UAE, 10% of trips already take place on an EV. So that's massive, and we are leading the charge, and it's setting the stage for us to scale electrification across the region. And we've made several strides, and there have been tons of initiatives for us to get here. You may have heard, but this past summer, we adjusted prices on Uber Green in Dubai to match our most affordable product, UberX. And so now people can move around more sustainably and also at a more affordable rate. And that's in an attempt to make it more accessible for people to live a low-emission lifestyle. We're also elevating our green product in our Uber for Business platform, U4B, which basically allows corporations to work with us and offer their employees an Uber Green or a fully zero-emission ride option for their corporate travel. And lastly, we're also collaborating with our fleet partners to support drivers in the journey towards electrification. And a few weeks ago, on our 10th anniversary in Dubai, we announced that we are committing 25% of kilometers traveled in Uber, on Uber will be emission-free by 2026 in Dubai, which is just 3 years from now, and it's quite an ambitious role that we've done so far, and we know that there's a lot more to do. And at the heart of this effort is Uber Green, which I just mentioned. I'm hoping a lot of you have already tried it out, and if you haven't, it's available in Dubai. I really encourage you to check it out. You'll probably get a Tesla, and it's a really good experience. Yeah. We launched here in 2020, and it is now available in over 140 cities globally. So also keep that in mind when you're, I feel like it's not working. Yeah. I love it when tech companies have technical difficulties. It's so humbling. So yeah, we're now available in over 140 plus cities. So please keep it in mind whenever you're traveling. It's available in most of the major cities in Europe. But it doesn't end there. So Uber Green is great, but we're always thinking about new product features that will help us get to our goals. And today I'm excited to share that as of next year, we'll be showing riders the emissions that they're saving and the impact that they're having right in the Uber app. And I'm going to show you a little product demo as well. So, if I can get this to work. All right. We're in 2024, and we have a rider. Let's call her Aya. So Aya's going home from work. She requests an Uber Green. She gets in the EV. She loves it. She gets out. The trip ends, and then she gets this notification. Thanks for going green. You just saved 613 grams of carbon. So that's great. You know, Aya's making a green choice, and we want to celebrate that. So you tap on the notification, and it's supposed to give you an animation, but again, technical difficulties, sorry. We're going to celebrate that, and it'll take you to your emission savings tab. Now, Okay, here we are. Now, in the emission savings tab, which is in the Uber app, you'll see that Aya has saved 5,000 grams of carbon. Okay, but that's honestly very confusing. Like Aya's sitting there, she's confused. Is that a lot? Is that a little? Nobody knows. And so we want to help with that. We want to give more context, right? So first we see that she's taken 12 Uber Green trips. You'll see it when it comes back. 12 Uber Green trips. And she's in the top 10% of riders in Dubai that are taking Uber Green, which is great. She's doing amazing. And we want to convert that into something a bit more relatable because it's still a bit ambiguous, right? So, okay, 5,000 grams, what does that translate to? We're able to tell her that this is the equivalent of burning 2.2 liters of petrol or a certain amount of coal. So now Aya knows actually what impact she's having on the environment by riding on an Uber Green versus riding on an Uber X. That's great. Now, again, sustainability is a team effort, right? And Aya's sitting there and she feels like she's part of something bigger and we want to help tap into that. So we're going to be able to show you what your city is saving on overall, right? So, for example, Aya lives in London and not in Dubai, and she's able to see how many kilograms of carbon emissions they've saved overall for that year. And if she's feeling a bit competitive, she can also benchmark how her city is doing versus other cities like Paris or San Francisco, right? Or if she's not very competitive, she can just feel proud of the impact that she's having. All right, so that's all I have for you today. Thank you for listening in, and I hope your next trip is an Uber Green one. Thank you.
Okay, many thanks to Fadi for that very informative talk. And as he said, it's a team effort. It's not individuals. It's about all of us, whether you're a driver, a passenger, or a company and brand. So that brings us to a close for the event. And thank you for sticking with us. I know we overran, so apologies for that. And before we go, we do actually have a prize to give away. So let me just find my notes here. We actually have a PS5, which will be given away by Srikanth Rayaprulu, who is the CEO and co-founder of Ad Scholars. It was a prize draw, I think, on their activation outside. So if you could just join us on stage with the gaming console, if it's not too heavy, we'll give it away. Or maybe somebody's already won it and disappeared with it. Or maybe I'll just get it. Hey, can I win it? Can I win it or not?
No, we already did the raffle draw.
Damn, it's too busy to, okay. Okay, I see it coming into the room. Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, thank you guys for the participation, and we have done the raffle draw. The winner is Mirika Shah. I request wherever she's to be up on the stage.
It's all about branding. Show off that PS5. Okay, thank you everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.